including MSME entrepreneurs, investors, thought leaders, technology enablers, and policy and opinion makers. In a rapidly evolving business environment, our event today will delve deep into the strategies and approaches that are instrumental in fostering the growth of the MSMEs. With an unwavering commitment to the prosperity of this sector, this conclave will place a strong emphasis on the seamless integration of the MSMEs with sustainable manufacturing practices and the latest technological trends that are reshaping the industries. Let us take a moment to give you a brief on the prestigious Jagran New Media. It is the digital wing of Jagran Prakashan Limited, India's leading media conglomerate with pan-India presence and wide reader base. Jagran New Media is impacting 73.1 million users and counting, which is commendable. And today, with the meticulously curated fireside chats, panel discussions, we will be decoding various aspects related to MSME growth in India, digital transformation of MSMEs, easing the adoption of digital solutions for MSMEs, learn from the best, thinking smart, sharing success stories, transforming business from a promoter-driven to a professionally run organization, enabling women entrepreneurs, the future of work, tech innovations, powering hybrid workspaces. We will be discussing them and much more. Well, before moving ahead, let me pause here for a moment and thank all those without whom this event would have not been possible. Our presenting sponsor, Dell Technologies, powered by Intel, our partners, Funding Touch and HDFC Sky, and supported by Rocket Ship Films. Our gratitude to all of you. Let us all put our hands together and show our gratitude to all our partners for making this event possible. Thank you so much. And now we are all set to officially commence this much-awaited conclave. And to delve deeper and understand what this conclave means for all of us, here is an event AV. I would request my team to kindly play the event AV.
जागरण न्यू मीडिया स्वागत करता है आपका जागरण बदलाव एमएसएमई कॉन्क्लेव में। आजादी के 75 साल बाद भारत आत्मनिर्भर होने की ओर अग्रसर है। देश की इकोनॉमी $5 ट्रिलियन की तरफ अपने कदम बढ़ा चुकी है। वैश्विक स्तर पर भारत एक सुपर पावर बनकर उभर रहा है और इस सफर में योगदान है देश की एमएसएमई कंपनियों का, स्टार्टअप से लेकर यूनिकॉर्न्स तक का और ढेरों दूरदर्शी इनोवेटर्स का, ऐसे हीरोज का जिन्होंने अपने हौसले बुलंद रखे और आज नए भारत के निर्माण में अपना योगदान देने में कहीं से भी पीछे नहीं है। वो लोग जिन्होंने वक्त के आगे का सोचा और इस नए भारत की जरूरतों को समझा। दैनिक जागरण सलाम करता है ऐसे ही विजनरीज को। जागरण बदलाव एमएसएमई कॉन्क्लेव 2023 के मंच पर हमारा उद्देश्य है उन्हीं स्टार्टअप्स और इनोवेटर्स के साथ जुड़ना और पैनल डिस्कशंस, प्रेजेंटेशंस और इंटरैक्शंस की मदद से उन्हें एक ऐसा इकोसिस्टम दिलाना जहां वो अपने विचारों को सही लोगों तक पहुंचा सके और भारत के नवनिर्माण के लिए साथ मिलकर प्रयास कर सके। जागरण बदलाव एमएसएमई कॉन्क्लेव का मूल उद्देश्य एमएसएमई सेक्टर को मजबूत बनाने की दिशा में एक संवाद शुरू करना, संभावनाओं और चुनौतियों पर बात करना, जिससे आत्मनिर्भर बनने का रास्ता और स्पष्ट हो सके। तो आइए एमएसएमई के सहयोग के साथ मिलकर बदलते हैं भारत के संकल्प को और मजबूत करें और प्रोत्साहित करें उन छोटे उद्योगों को जो आने वाले समय में भारत निर्माण के सूत्रधार होंगे। हम बढ़ेंगे, हम समृद्ध होंगे, क्योंकि हमारे पास देश की टॉप कंपनियों के साथ एमएसएमई का मजबूत आधार है। जागरण बदलाव एमएसएमई कॉन्क्लेव 2023। Think big, think smart.
Wow, what a powerful start. Let us all, with a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause, try to appreciate the team's effort behind it. Can we have a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much. And now with this, I will introduce Mr. Bharat Gupta, CEO of Jagran New Media, a dynamic young leader. Mr. Bharat Gupta is the vision and force behind the success of Jagran New Media. An industry-recognized leader Mr. Gupta is also serving as the Director to the International News and Media Association South Asia Board and the Misinformation Combat Alliance Association. He is a Governing Council member at the Internet and Mobile Association of India and on the board of the esteemed International Fact-Checking Network. The founding member of Digital News Publishers Association, he was recognized in 2021 by Great Place to Work as one of India's best leaders in the times of crisis. Let us all, with a huge round of applause, welcome Mr. Bharat Gupta to deliver the welcome address. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Smriti. Greetings and a warm welcome to all to the MSME Conclave BADLAV. We are thrilled to share some exciting facts with you that demonstrate the tremendous impact MSMEs on Indian economy. Over the past 10 years, MSMEs have contributed to more than 30% to the GDP and 40% to exports. Additionally, they make up to 33% of total manufacturing output. India is a diverse nation with a population of 1.4 billion, making it the world's most populous nation. With over 720 million internet users and only 50% penetration, it also has the largest internet population. More than 65% of the population is under 35, and soon India is heading towards the youngest nation. India has 28 states, 8 union territories, and 179 languages, 544 dialects. India's literacy rate is 73%, with 81% for men and 65% for women. Look at the geographic and the demographic profile. In March 2023, India's GDP reached $3.7 trillion, overtaking UK to become the 5th largest economy. And very soon, as per IMF's predictions, India will soon be the 3rd place on global ranking with projected $5.4 trillion economy by 2027. All of this can happen when the growth is diverse, inclusive, and equitable, or the DEI framework as summarized by G20. The MSME sector will soon become the largest employment provider in India. Already with over 1.64 crores MSME, it has generated over 10.73 crore jobs. Clearly, MSMEs are the growth engines of the new Indian economy. However, one of the biggest challenges they face is the credit gap problem, followed by new age technology adoption, thus limiting them to scale and to sustain. Research shows that MSMEs receive a small share of credit from the financial system, with more than 80% not receiving any financing and struggling to get even a 50,000 loans. How can Open Credit Enablement Network, or OCEN, help them in this regard? BADLAV, my friends, or change as we call it, has 3 pillars of literacy, advocacy, and policy. Literacy. The platform aims to empower MSMEs by equipping them with the information and knowledge of tools, financial instruments, and policies that are already existing for MSMEs. Advocacy. Bring in tech, financial, and knowledge partners to ideate, innovate, and collaborate a Web 3.0 growth architecture for accelerating this change. And finally, policy, to understand, deliberate, and formulate progressive ideas towards a conducive environment for MSME scale and sustainability. I think this is much required to accelerate India inclusively towards the 3rd largest economy. At Jagran New Media, we are committed to a mission of enabling and empowering New Bharat through knowledge, information, and voice towards an inclusive and progressive society. With over 100 million users and 7 audience platforms, we are amongst the top 10 in news and info company within India and top 30 globally. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see all of us work as a strong community of change towards a mission of inclusive and progressive India. In the end, let me begin by saying that let us all resolve to build for India, solve for India, and revolutionize India. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gupta, for always being a torchbearer for all of us and supporting and appreciating our efforts time and again. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are commencing this conclave with an important and vital keynote address on the topic, Transformative Role of Technologies in Building MSMEs. And let me have this honor to introduce Samriddhi Bhattacharya, Director, Small Business, Dell India. A small brief into her illustrious career. Samriddhi comes with diverse experience in the information technology industry and has held various sales leadership positions in the past across organizations of repute. She has a rich experience in acquiring new logos, new market development, leading major GTMs, and driving business expansion in international markets such as US, UK, and ASEAN apart from India. I would request Samriddhi Bhattacharya, Director, Small Business, Dell India, to kindly come up on the stage and address the August gathering with her kind words. Let us all, with a huge round of applause, welcome Samriddhi Bhattacharya.
Thank you, Smriti. Can I have my notes, please?
This is the clicker.
No, there will be a... Thank you. Hello? Yeah, okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you had a good lunch and have settled in well. So my name is Samriddhi and I lead the Small Businesses Division for Dell in India. Now, I'm very, very pleased to address all of you in the third edition of Jagran BADLAV MSME Conclave. Think big and think smart. Now, this is not just a catchphrase. It is a pivotal guiding principle for anyone harboring the dreams of launching a new business. The importance of this philosophy cannot be overstated, especially for small and medium businesses across the country. These businesses are the backbone of the India growth story, and as Mr. Bharat just mentioned, it contributes to 30% of India's GDP, and it contributes to 120 millions of jobs. So definitely a sizable part of the India's GDP is depending on the small businesses. To operate with efficiency and achieve sustainable growth, these businesses rely on a conducive ecosystem which creates employment opportunities and income, and it depends on driving efficiency and sustainable growth, led by skilled personnel, and also it depends a lot on technology. Technology is definitely the most dependable partner for businesses aiming for growth and success. For holistic development, companies require scalable technology resources that can help create a robust information technology framework. Now, if you see, now going with this particular slide, operational efficiency, market reach, and streamlining distribution all comes under how well we can build technology into the ecosystem. MSMEs can expand their operations efficiently. These technologies serve as the gateways for expanding market reach and distribution processes. We are living in an era where AI is becoming the talk of the town. Everybody is talking about ChatGPT. Everybody is talking about productivity enhancement, accuracy, and operational efficiency, which the MSMEs have to bring onto the table every single day. At Dell, I mean, anybody knows when Dell was started? It was started 39 years back, and precisely it started as a small business. So when Michael Dell started this organization, he started it out of his dorm room in Texas. So technology is very well introduced into this as a DNA, and we are deeply committing to assisting small businesses in navigating economic uncertainties. We provide not only the devices, but also the solutions that can help MSMEs in addressing their specific requirements. From powerful laptops and workstations to robust data storage and modern data infrastructure, edge security, we provide all this as a holistic solution to cater to every MSME's needs. And we understand that every rupee counts for an MSME. It is not easy to get access to capital, to get access to resources. And hence, we work very hard, and our goal is to provide cost-effective, high-performance solutions that truly make a difference. Now, this is a few stories on how technology acts as a strategic enabler to MSMEs to make a difference. I'll share 3 stories with you. Now, Aries was a technology services offshore partner for ours, which sets up offshore companies for companies who want to get into India. Now, Aries was looking for a partner who can help them build that offshore backbone for addressing the needs of various small businesses which are getting into India. And guess what? This is around the pre-COVID and the COVID times. Dell acted hand in hand with Aries to set up the backbone, the technology infrastructure to build scalable infra solutions for not only one MSMEs, for multiple MSMEs across India. Wine Studio is a woman-led business. It's a podcasting agency. Again, just a pre-COVID baby, I would say. And they were struggling to get access to the latest and greatest technology, including the laptops, the infrastructure that they needed. And what happened is that during COVID, everything came to a halt. And that is when Dell came to their help and helped them scale up. And today they are doing great business in the podcasting space. Concept Medical, this is again another interesting healthcare story. Now, Concept Medical is into a very core field of medical devices where they are using drug coating on the balloon to address angioplasty and other cardiac issues. Dell Technologies is working hand in hand to create the entire backbone of the infrastructure, and not only that, they are helping them move into the next level of growth for these organizations. So when we hear this kind of stories, these are diverse stories across multiple industry, and you understand that technology can be such a key enabler in driving the MSME growth. In today's digital-first marketplace, this digital transformation can be a great leveler. Technology is directly linked to the talent, which has transformed as a result of remote work. We all know it, right? Because of COVID, a lot of us have started working remotely, and we continue to do so. Right? So geographical separation is no longer a barrier. What is more important, it also creates entrepreneurial opportunities to get access to talent, to get access to resources, irrespective of the size and location of the particular businesses. This is definitely more relevant for women entrepreneurs who are constantly struggling with different roles, as we see. And when I speak to a lot of women entrepreneurs, this is one of the key challenges that come across. But you know, when you have a robust technology partner and you have a robust ecosystem to support you, you can pretty much run your businesses from anywhere. And this is what happened with some of these companies which have actually come out very strong post-COVID. Now, some of these are, some of them are from Delhi, Noida, and some of them are also based in remote location. The interesting thing to note here is that all of them can compete at a global scale, and they can compete at a scale that was just a privilege to large corporates in the past. So just to summarize, I would say in conclusion that technology is the driving force for every MSME in this country. It empowers these businesses to innovate, compete, and thrive in a rapidly evolving landscape. And as we continue to embark on this journey of digital transformation, it is crucial for all of us to realize that technology can be such a strong enabler in strengthening the MSMEs of our country. So together, along with the technology that we bring to the table, we can create a much better, brighter, and prosperous future for the small businesses in India. Thank you so much for listening in.
Well, thank you so much, Ms. Samriddhi Bhattacharya, for this power-packed presentation. I request you to kindly stay back. Ms. Bhattacharya, I request you to kindly stay back and would invite Ms. Divya Singh Chief Revenue Officer of Jagran New Media to kindly come up on the stage and present a memento as a token of appreciation to Ms. Samriddhi Bhattacharya. Thank you once again for that crisp and extremely knowledge-driven presentation, Ms. Bhattacharya. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Singh. And now it's time for the second keynote address of this evening on the topic Supporting MSMEs with ESG Model. And I would like to invite on stage Mr. Piyush Mishra, Advisor to Union Minister of State for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise, Government of India and co-founder Net Zero Indian Foundation. A very warm welcome to Mr. Piyush Mishra.
थैंक यू स्मृति जी फॉर प्रोवाइडिंग मी स्टेज एंड सबसे पहले तो मैं जागरण को धन्यवाद बोलना चाहूँगा कि उन्होंने ये इतना अच्छा इवेंट किया। और सबसे पहले तो मैंने अभी करीब एक हफ्ते पहले ही दैनिक जागरण का एक फुल फ्रंट पेज मतलब सेकंड पेज पढ़ा, जिसमें उन्होंने पूरा बता रखा है कि कैसे लोगों को अपना एनर्जी पे ट्रांजिशन करना है, क्या क्या वो अच्छे अच्छे प्रोडक्ट्स यूज़ कर सकते हैं, कैसे कार्बन इमिशन को कम कर सकते हैं। तो सबसे पहले तो मैं जागरण की इस पहल के लिए दैनिक जागरण और जागरण ग्रुप को पूरे को बहुत ही ज़्यादा सराहनीय कदम है और उसके लिए बहुत बहुत साधुवाद धन्यवाद देना चाहूँगा, क्योंकि ये आज के टाइम की ना सबसे बड़ी रिक्वायरमेंट है। वैसे देखा जाए तो ESG का तो फुल फॉर्म यहाँ पे सारे लोग ही जान रहे होंगे कि इन्वायरमेंटल, सोशल एंड गवर्नेंस, ये 3 मॉडल हैं जिससे कि हम अपनी MSME को अभी इस समय इंक्लूड करना चाहते हैं। इन्वायरमेंटल क्राइसिस पे बात करते हैं। सबसे पहले तो क्राइसिस कितनी बड़ी हो गई है कि 2050 तक हम लोग जो करीब 1.5 डिग्री सेल्सियस का टारगेट लेके चल रहे थे, वो 2 डिग्री सेल्सियस बड़े आराम से आ जाएगा। और 1.5 डिग्री सेल्सियस तापमान पे ही हम देख रहे थे कि 70 से 90% तक कोरल रीफ गायब हो जाएंगे। फिर देखा जाए कि अप्रॉक्सीमेटली 40% ऑफ द पॉपुलेशन है जो इस समय एक प्रकार से कोस्टल एरिया के नज़दीक रहती है, विद इन 100 किलोमीटर रेंज ऑफ कोस्टल एरिया। तो सबसे पहले तो उनके डिस्प्लेसमेंट की दिक्कत आएगी कि वो उनको कहाँ डिस्प्लेस किया जाए, बिकॉज हम देख रहे हैं कि मोस्टली जितना भी पॉपुलेशन है ग्रो करता जा रहा है कोस्टल एरिया के अराउंड। ठीक है। फिर सबसे दूसरी चीज़ देखी जाए, आपको देखा कि 2019 में एक UN का एक कॉन्फ्रेंस हुआ, उसमें करीब 11,000 साइंटिस्ट ने मिलके एक प्रकार से ग्लोबल वार्मिंग को एज अ क्लाइमेट इमरजेंसी घोषित किया। तो आप समझ सकते हैं कि इमरजेंसी कब देते हैं हम कि क्राइसिस बहुत ज़्यादा लेवल पे जाके ग्रो हो चुकी है। उसका सबसे बड़ा इम्पैक्ट देखा जाए तो हम लोग अभी इस समय देख रहे होंगे कि कहीं पे हीट वेव आ रही है और यहीं हमारे राजस्थान में आपके बर्फबारी हो जा रही है, और कहीं देख रहे हैं हम लोग एक प्रकार से ड्रॉट है और कहीं पे बाढ़ आ जा रही है। तो बेसिकली हमें ये देखना कि हम इन्वायरमेंटल के साथ में कर क्या रहे हैं, ये क्यों इतना ज़्यादा डिसबैलेंस क्रिएट होता जा रहा है। अभी मैंने एक जगह पे पढ़ा कि पिछले 22 सालों से वेस्ट अमेरिका साइड में करीब 1200 साल पुराना मतलब 22 साल से ड्रॉट है, मतलब सूखा पड़ा हुआ है वहाँ। तो आप समझ सकते हो कितनी क्राइसिस होती जा रही है। और इस समय देखा जाए तो करीब अप्रॉक्सीमेटली 90% ऑफ द पॉपुलेशन वाटर स्कैर्सिटी जोन में आ गई है। अभी आपने कुछ समय पहले देखा होगा चेन्नई को तो एक प्रकार से मतलब एक बिल्कुल सूखा घोषित कर दिया गया है, वहाँ पे पानी ही नहीं है। तो बेसिकली जीवन के जीने के कुछ अस्तित्व होते हैं, उनमें एक वायु होती है, फिर पानी होता है और खाना होता है। तो हम एक प्रकार से देखते जा रहे हैं कि हमने सारे के सारे एस्पेक्ट जितने भी हैं वो सबको किसी न किसी तरीके से एक बहुत बड़े एक्सटेंट तक पॉल्यूट कर दिया। ठीक है। और वो किस में कर दिया, जस्ट हमारी एक भूख है कंजम्पशन की, कि कोई चीज़ अगर हमें दिख गई तो उसको हमें ख़त्म कर देना है। मतलब मैंने मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम देखा है कि लोग बाग रिसोर्सेज को इस तरीके से यूटिलाइज कर रहे हैं जैसे मतलब इनका मतलब एक प्रकार से ये आते ही रहेंगे, जबकि ऐसा तो है नहीं। अभी इस समय देखा जाए कि 90% ऑफ द डिजास्टर जो है वो कॉज हो रहे हैं केवल क्लाइमेट चेंज की वजह से, और इसकी वजह से आपको $520 बिलियन एनुअली इम्पैक्ट पड़ रहा है पूरा देखा जाए इन ऑल टोटल उसमें। तो 520 बिलियन डॉलर इस समय खर्च कर रही है सरकार पूरे विश्व की मिलके इनसे फाइट करने के लिए। तो एक प्रकार से देखा जाए तो अप्रॉक्सीमेटली 3.6 बिलियन पीपल हैं जो एक प्रकार से क्लाइमेट चेंज वल्नरेबल एरियाज में रह रहे हैं। क्यों हम लोग मतलब देखते जा रहे हैं कि प्लानेट अगर हम 1881 से बात करें और अभी तक की, तो 1881 में वर्ल्ड की पॉपुलेशन हुआ करती थी 120 बिलियन, करीब 120 करोड़ लोग हुआ करते थे पूरी दुनिया में। आज वही पॉपुलेशन हो गई है अप्रॉक्सीमेटली 800 प्लस बिलियन। मैं मान के चलता हूँ कि 850 तक पहुँच गई होगी। और उसको ही देखा जाए तो 7 टाइम्स का चेंज आया पूरी वर्ल्ड की पॉपुलेशन में। और वहीं पे हम देखें कि हमारे इमिशंस या हमारा पॉल्यूशन लेवल अगर जज किया जाए तो एक प्रकार से उस टाइम पे करीब 60 मिलियन टन ऑफ जीएसजी का इमिशंस होता था अराउंड द वर्ल्ड, ठीक है, जो कि बढ़ के इस समय 50 बिलियन ऑफ टन हो गया है। मतलब मिलियन से बिलियन पे आ गए हम, ठीक है। 120 करोड़ जनता, 60 मिलियन टन ऑफ जीएसजी, 850 करोड़ जनता, इस समय 51 बिलियन टन ऑफ जीएसजी इमिशन। सो बेसिकली एक सबसे बड़ा फैक्टर देखा जाए 7 गुना चेंज में 1000 गुना पॉल्यूशन का चेंज आ गया। तो अब इसमें फैक्टर्स क्या क्या है? एक तो भाई हमने प्री इंडस्ट्रियल लेवल देखा और एक ये इंडस्ट्रियल लेवल आया। तो इंडस्ट्रियल लेवल में 2 फैक्टर्स हैं जिनको मतलब एक को तो जागरण ग्रुप बहुत अच्छा एड्रेस कर रहा है, बाकी सारे लोग काम कर रहे हैं केवल इंडस्ट्री के ऊपर। लेकिन जागरण ग्रुप ने जो एक पहली पहल की ना लोगों के ऊपर, क्योंकि भाई एक इन्फॉर्म कंजम्पशन भी तो बहुत ज़रूरी है ना, कि हम क्या कंज्यूम कर रहे हैं, कैसे कंज्यूम कर रहे हैं, इसकी कितनी अवेलेबिलिटी है, ये हर किसी को पता होनी चाहिए। अगर हम आज सपोज कर लीजिए हमारे पास में ग्राउंड वाटर तो एक डेफिनेट नंबर में ही है ना, तो अगर हम ग्राउंड वाटर आज ही निकाल लेंगे तो कल हमारे बच्चे और बाकी फ्यूचर क्या करेगा? तो हमें एक इन्फॉर्म्ड कंजम्पशन के ऊपर भी काम करना है। तो प्रोडक्शन तो है ही एक बड़ा फैक्टर प्ले करता है। मैं देख रहा था अराउंड द वर्ल्ड टोटल जीएसजी इमिशंस हो रहे हैं, उसमें 21% ऑफ द इंडस्ट्री का एक पॉल्यूशन आ रहा है, ठीक है। तो बाकी आपका 79% कहाँ से आ रहा है? वो तो लोग ही क्रिएट कर रहे हैं ना। तो लोगों को भी इसके बारे में इन्फॉर्म करने की ज़रूरत है। तो बेसिकली अगर हम एक प्रकार से जाएं तो ESG इज़ नॉट ओनली मैंडेटरी फॉर द इंडस्ट्री, इट मस्ट बी मैंडेटरी फॉर द पीपल ऑल्सो, कि भाई लोगों को भी हम इसके बारे में जागृत करें कि हमें अपने एनवायरनमेंट के, बेसिकली देखा जाए तो रहना तो इस एनवायरनमेंट में सबको ही है ना। कोई भी कितना भी कैसा भी पैसा कमा ले, ठीक है, कितनी भी पावर क्रिएट कर ले, ऑक्सीजन की जगह कोई दूसरी तो गैस नहीं लेने लगेगा वो, ये तो पॉसिबिलिटी बनती ही नहीं है। और लेना सबको एटमॉस्फेयर में बाहर ही आके रहना पड़ेगा। ज़्यादा पैसा कमा लेंगे तो हो सकता है हम बंकर में शिफ्ट हो जाए और वहाँ पे एयर प्यूरीफायर लगा लें, जैसे कि अभी हम लोगों ने कोरोना में देखा होगा। कोरोना ने इंसान को बताया कि वो कितना लाचार और कमज़ोर है, कि हमें पूरा वर्ल्ड को हॉल्ट पे लेके आ गए हम। क्यों लेके आ गए? बस एक छोटा सा वायरस जो दिख भी नहीं रहा था किसी को। लेकिन अभी हम जो डिजास्टर कॉज करते जा रहे हैं ना डे बाय डे, ब्रिक बाय ब्रिक, वो उससे देखिए आप एक प्रकार से अंटार्कटिक का कई सारे जंगल ना ऊपर आ गए उभर के, वहाँ की बर्फ पिघल गई तो वो कई सारे जंगल मतलब वहाँ पे आप देखेंगे फ्लोरा फौना सामने आने लग गया। तो इसका असर ना फ्यूचर में डिजीज के ऊपर पड़ने वाला है, कि वहीं से कई सारे वायरस थे या फिर कई सारे ऐसी मतलब आप समझो कुछ भी ऐसे जीव जंतु हो सकते हैं जो वहाँ पे काफ़ी समय तक दबे हुए थे, अब वो एक्सपोज हो गए हैं, तो दे आर गोइंग टू कॉज अ सीवियर प्रॉब्लम फॉर अस। सो बेसिकली क्या है कि हमें ना अपने कलेक्टिव एफर्ट्स को ध्यान में देते हुए बाकी सारी चीज़ें देखनी चाहिए, ठीक है। अभी इस समय देखा जाए तो वर्ल्ड ना 3 टाइप की प्रॉब्लम से, ट्रिपल प्लानिटरी क्राइसिस बोलते हैं इसको, 3 प्रकार की प्रॉब्लम से जूझ रहा है। सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है क्लाइमेट चेंज, दूसरी आपकी आती है पॉल्यूशन, और तीसरी आती है बायोडाइवर्सिटी। सो बेसिकली देखा जाए तो मेरे हिसाब से क्लाइमेट चेंज से आपकी बायोडाइवर्सिटी इफेक्ट हो रही है और पॉल्यूशन से आपका क्लाइमेट चेंज कॉज हो रहा है। सो सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम क्या है? पॉल्यूशन। और पॉल्यूशन ना केवल इंडस्ट्री फैलाती है, सारे के सारे जितने भी हम इंसान हैं सब लोग मिलके फैला रहे हैं। क्योंकि मेरा मानना है कि क्रिएशन ऑफ प्लास्टिक इज़ नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम, ये तो यूटिलिटी है। डिस्पोजल ऑफ प्लास्टिक इज़ अ प्रॉब्लम, कि भाई हम सारे लोग सबके सामने अभी एक एक बोतल रखी हुई है और ये बोतल का कहाँ डिस्पोजल होगा किसी को नहीं पता। और ये वैसे तो बोतल जब तक पानी में रखी है कि साथ में हमारे लिए यूटिलिटी, हमारी प्यास बुझाएगी, लेकिन जब ये खाली हो जाएगी उसके बाद हम इसका क्या कर रहे हैं, यही हमारी प्रॉब्लम का रूट कॉज है। सो बेसिकली भारत ने एक प्रकार से देखा जाए ना विश्व को कई सारा ज्ञान दिया, इसीलिए हम विश्व गुरु बोले जाते थे। सो नाउ टाइम है कि हम लोगों को ना बेसिकली ESG पे नहीं, इन्वायरमेंटल सोशल पे ज्ञान देना चाहिए। गवर्नेंस तो अपने आप आ जाएगी, गवर्नेंस तो तब रहेगी ना जब लोग रहेंगे। सो लोग ही नहीं रहे तो हम क्या करेंगे उसका गवर्नेंस का? सरकारें भी तो लोग ही चुनते हैं ना, बेसिकली आप हम सब लोग मिलकर ही चुन रहे हैं सरकार। और अगर हमारे पास लोग ही नहीं होंगे तो सरकार किसको चुनेंगे? सरकार ही नहीं होगी, लोग ही नहीं होंगे, सरकार का क्या मतलब बनता है? सो बेसिकली देखा जाए कि प्रॉब्लम ग्रो कर रही है डे बाय डे, पर डे, मतलब एक प्रकार से देखा जाए हमारे लिए एक नया दिक्कत खड़ी हो जा रही है। फिर देखिए कई सारे ग्रुप बने और कई सारा काफ़ी लोगों ने काम किया इस पर, ठीक है। मैं देख रहा था कि 60 की एज में लोग रिटायर्ड हो जाते हैं। बेसिकली 60 साल की उम्र हमारी हो रही होती है तो हम लोग रिटायरमेंट पे फोकस करने लगते हैं। लेकिन मेरे को जो ये जीवन में बदलाव आया वो 65 ईयर के एक ओल्ड पर्सन की वजह से आया। 65 साल की उम्र में वो इंसान बाइक पे कई सारे कंट्रीज की यात्रा पे निकला और उनका नाम था सदगुरु जी। तो करीब 2 साल पहले मैं ऐसे ही 15 अगस्त को ना एक उनका वो देख रहा था, क्या कहते हैं, वीडियो जो उन्होंने लोगों के साथ में अपील की थी सेफ सॉइल को लेके कि भाई ये सॉइल है, सॉइल कितना इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्टर प्ले कर रहा है हम लोगों के जीवन में, और इसको कैसे क्या कहते हैं, कहाँ डिग्रेडेशन हो रहा है और कैसे ये प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट करने वाला है। सो बेसिकली वो 65 साल के 65 साल के जो बुजुर्ग हैं माननीय सदगुरु जी, उन सदगुरु जी ने पूरे वर्ल्ड को बताया कि भाई देखिए आप कितनी बड़ी क्राइसिस क्रिएट करते जा रहे हैं। 2050 तक 90% ऑफ द सैंड यूजलेस हो जाएगी। क्यों भाई? हम लोग इतना ज़्यादा उसमें एक प्रकार से फर्टिलाइजर, पेस्टिसाइड क्या क्या नहीं डाल रहे हैं जस्ट टू गेट द फूड, ठीक है। और बेसिकली देखा जाए तो फूड तो जब पॉपुलेशन बढ़ रही है तो फूड डिमांड भी ग्रो करेगी और हमारी सेंट्स डिग्रेड हो रही है। सो बेसिकली एक एस्पेक्ट पे काम नहीं हो रहा है, क्राइसिस केवल एक एस्पेक्ट पे नहीं आ रही है, ये जाके आगे हमारे क्या कहते हैं, सांस लेने, पानी पीने, खाना, तीनों को जाके इम्पैक्ट करने वाली है। और विद द ग्रोइंग पॉपुलेशन हमें तो फोकस करना है कि कैसे लोगों को फूड सिक्योरिटी दे सकते हैं, कैसे हम लोगों को पानी सही मुहैया करा सकते हैं, कैसे हम लोगों को उनके जीवन बचा सकते हैं। आप देखेंगे कि एक प्रकार से करीब बहुत छोटा सा नंबर है, पूरे वर्ल्ड ने क्लाइमेट चेंज से रिलेटेड हेल्थ पे $4.5 ट्रिलियन खर्च किया अराउंड द वर्ल्ड, और हमने $7 ट्रिलियन की क्या दी सब्सिडी फॉसिल्स फ्यूज के लिए। रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है? एक प्रकार से एनर्जी ट्रांजिशन के लिए $4 ट्रिलियन की। सो बेसिकली एक प्रकार से देखा जाए बजटरी एक्सपेंडिचर देखें तो करीब $11.5 ट्रिलियन के पड़ रहे हैं एनुअली अराउंड द वर्ल्ड, और रिक्वायरमेंट केवल $4 ट्रिलियन की है। तो यार ये खर्चे यहाँ के रोक के प्रॉपरली हमें क्या करने चाहिए, माइग्रेट करनी चाहिए, सो दैट हमारा एक जो एक्सपेंडिचर है क्लाइमेट चेंज रिलेटेड हेल्थ क्राइसिस पे, उनको हम लोग प्रॉपरली कवर कर पाएँ, ठीक है। आप देखें कि अब आते हैं कि ESG का MSME में क्या रोल है। इस देश के अंदर 6.3 करोड़ MSME है, जो जिनमें से करीब 2 करोड़ तो हमारे उद्यम पोर्टल पे रजिस्टर्ड हो गई हैं। एक प्रकार से देखा जाए भारत का सबसे ज़्यादा जॉब क्रिएशन वाला सेगमेंट है। मतलब अभी तो केवल 2 करोड़ हुई तो हम 13 करोड़ एम्प्लॉयज़ को रजिस्टर्ड किए हुए हैं अपने पोर्टल पे। सपोज करिए जब सारी हम लेके आ जाएंगे तो नंबर इज़ गोइंग टू बी ह्यूज, ठीक है। बेसिकली कुछ टाइम बाद तो हम लोग ये बोल सकते हैं कि एग्रीकल्चर से ज़्यादा हमारे यहाँ जॉब क्रिएशन केवल MSME में हो रहा है। तो जब जितना ज़्यादा जॉब क्रिएशन है या जितना ज़्यादा प्रोडक्शन है, उसमें पर्टिकुलरली देखा जाए तो पॉल्यूशन भी उतना ही ज़्यादा क्रिएट हो रहा होगा। बेसिक जब ह्यूमन एक्टिविटी पॉल्यूशन क्रिएट कर रही है तो एक इंडस्ट्रियल एक्टिविटी तो कर ही रही होगी। और देखा जाए जैसे जैसे ग्रोइंग कंसर्न हो रहा है ओवर द क्लाइमेट चेंज, ठीक है। आप देखिएगा CBAM आ गया आपका यूरोप में, ठीक है। ये अपने कार्बन बॉर्डर एडजस्टमेंट मैकेनिज्म करके उन्होंने एक टैक्सेशन फ्रेमवर्क लगाया है, जिसकी वजह से जितना ज़्यादा आप कार्बन एमिट करके जा रहे हो उतना ही ज़्यादा वो जाके आपके ऊपर टैक्स लगा देंगे, ठीक है। सो बेसिकली अराउंड द वर्ल्ड सारी MSME के नॉट ओनली MSME जितनी भी इंडस्ट्री है उनके ऊपर फोकस है कि वो अपना कम से कम इमिशंस करें या कम से कम ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा एनवायरमेंटल फ्रेंडली बने, सो दैट वो कम से कम दे कैन रिमेन अ competitive advantage in a global scenario. So basically देखा जाए कि एक प्रकार से ESG का जो भी है उसमें सबसे प्राइम फोकस ना सब लोगों ने एनवायरनमेंट पे ही दे रखा है कि आप एनवायरनमेंट पे क्या डैमेज पहुंचा रहे हो, एनवायरनमेंट पे क्या इम्पैक्ट है इसका। तो जैसे देखा जाए कि भारत ने ना सबसे पहले ग्राम व्यवस्था का कॉन्सेप्ट था माननीय श्री कृष्ण जी ने दिया हुआ था। श्री कृष्ण जी ने एक सोसाइटी के सिविलाइजेशन का पहला स्टेप पार किया जब लोग सोसाइटी में रहना चालू किए। उनमें सबसे पहली थी ग्राम व्यवस्था, और उस ग्राम व्यवस्था का कॉन्सेप्ट कितना सस्टेनेबल था आप उसी चीज़ से इमेजिन कीजिए कि पहले हर चीज़ हमें मिट्टी से मिलती थी और हमारे द्वारा उत्सर्जित हर चीज़ मिट्टी में मिल जाती थी, चाहे वो बेसिक रिक्वायरमेंट होती है इंसान की, रोटी, कपड़ा, मकान। तो आप देखें रोटी खाना इंसानों को सबको ज़मीन से मिल रहा है। गाँव में सारे लोगों के घर ना मिट्टी के बने हुए थे। आपका कपड़ा था ना वो कपास से बन के आ रहा था, सूती कपड़ा पहनते थे लोग बाग पहले, या फिर बाकी रिक्वायरमेंट थी वो जूट वगैरह से कंप्लीट हो रही थी, तो वो भी एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्ट थे। सो बेसिकली प्रॉब्लम क्या हुई कि हमने अब ऐसी चीज़ों का निर्माण चालू किया जो मिट्टी में नहीं मिल रही हैं। सो हमें बेसिकली फोकस करना है ऐसी चीज़ों के निर्माण पे जो आपका लास्ट में उनकी जो भी डेस्टिनी हो ना वो मिट्टी में हो, कि हमने कुछ भी बनाया वो जाके मिट्टी में मिल गया, तब तो वो प्रॉब्लम क्रिएशन का पार्ट नहीं रहेगा। अदरवाइज डे बाय डे हम लोग प्रॉब्लम्स में एक चीज़ का एडिशन करते जा रहे हैं। तो मैं इसी के साथ अपनी बातों को थोड़ा विराम देना चाहूँगा और आप सब लोगों से गुजारिश करूँगा कि आप टाइमली अपनी ESG रिपोर्टिंग, कैलकुलेशन इन सब पे फोकस करें, क्योंकि भाई यही चीज़ है आपको रिमेन कम्पिटिटिव रखेगी विद द करेंट क्राइसिस ग्रोइंग अराउंड द वर्ल्ड। सो और मैं फिर से भरत गुप्ता जी को धन्यवाद बोलना चाहूँगा और उनकी टीम को फॉर ऑर्गेनाइजिंग सच अ गुड इवेंट, एंड थैंक यू वेरी मच।
पीयूष जी, आपका हृदय से आभार और इस विषय पर अपना पूरा ज्ञान हमारे साथ कुछ शब्दों में शेयर करने के लिए एक बार फिर आपके हम आभारी हैं। और मैं अब बुलाऊंगी मंच पर दिव्या सिंह जी को, CRO जागरण न्यू मीडिया, टू फेलिसिटेट मिस्टर पीयूष मिश्रा। Let us all put our hands together for that extremely engaging words by Mr. Mishra. Thank you once again. Ladies and gentlemen, now we have a special address on the topic Factors Affecting the Growth of MSMEs by Wing Commander Rajashri D. Nair, Mentor of Change Niti Aayog, Mentor Ministry of MSME Government of India, Co-Chair Medicaid Ethos Private Limited and Director Nutmeg Products Private Limited. Let us all put our hands together and welcome Wing Commander Rajashri D. Nair.
Good evening to all. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity today. Special thanks to one single person who I can't see him here. He met me during All India Management Association, which had a conclave just a month ago, and he convinced me to come all the way from Trivandrum here for this. Though I was not sure whether this will be possible, but thank you so much, and thank you to Jagran for holding a Badlav like this. This is something which in my career I had a lot of Badlavs, and I'm happy to see that this kind of Badlav is definitely required. When I was approached, I was asked to speak on something related to MSME, and I've been involved with MSME as a mentor for last 11 plus years in promoting startups in whichever way possible. And therefore, I thought challenges was one segment that I wanted to address, and second was factors which affect MSME across India. There were three people who just spoke about MSME more than me. They know most of it, Mr. Bharat, Samriddhi, and Mr. Piyush. But taking it forward from there, the second slide, please. This, I'm sure most of you would be knowing about it as to the classification has changed recently as far as the investment and the turnover is concerned, because a lot of people still have this confusion when I deal with MSME that they do not know the difference on this classification, be it in the manufacturing as well as service industry. So therefore, I thought I'll just go through this first to give overview about what the various classification of MSME is. Second, next. Most of the speakers did speak before me, and particularly Mr. Piyush and Mr. Chuk did mention about the employment generation. And the significance of MSME today in this market is because of the employment that it is generating across India. And in very few, rather than being an employee, most of us, we'll see in coming years, it will be much more of an entrepreneur that we would see. And that is how we could make in India and make India from the 5th economy to the best economy in times to come. Second, as I mentioned, the economic growth, as well as we would be the leading innovator in times to come. Most of the Indians you see are holding positions of power in various segments today. That is because of the strength and creativity that we have today. And therefore, I'm more than sure with the coming generation and the kind of segment that and the training and the support system that government is giving, I'm sure that we are going to be the leading power in this segment. Diversity, the kind of products and services that we are coming into, significance, please. I'm sorry, I think I'll only handle the slides. Possibly there would be a confusion then. Diversity, coming to diversity and resilience, these MSME is the segment where you will see the diverse products and services that are coming. And finally, they are during the economic downturn, you will see the kind of resilience that these MSMEs is showing as against any other firm that you will look around. Coming to the factors that affect the economic factors, if you notice economic factors, all these are multiple factors that I'm mentioning. Economic, next. Regulatory, access to finance, market, technology, and social factors. I'll just briefly touch upon this because I've been given precisely 10 minutes. I'll try to curtail as much as possible so that I will just discuss the basic details of each of this. Coming to, next slide. Coming to economic factors, the inflation and interest rate. There are 4 segments that I have listed. Inflation, interest rates, exchange rates, and consumer confidence. Why I mention inflation is any product that you purchase today, the pricing is dependent very heavily on the inflation. And if it is an MSME, the loan that they take, it depends heavily on to what is the interest rate that it is going to, where they have to pay up the loan, or if the interest rates are subsidized by the government, then how the pricing would be and what would be the competition on that. Coming to the exchange rate, if it is an import or an export, it is also dependent on the exchange rate that is currently controlled by the Indian currency. When it comes to import, whether the competitive price is managed by it or otherwise. Consumer confidence, as I mentioned, the consumer confidence you have seen during COVID times, how the market has turned upside down because there was nobody who was going outside to spend because we were all being very conservative about our expenses. So the economic factors directly influences the MSME in a very big manner. Regulatory factors, the role of government, the government regulations, the government act, both have positive as well as negative impact. When it comes to government regulation, the positive impact is significance of the regulations, regulatory incentives and deregulation and streamlining. And when it comes to negative impact, it is the increased compliance, which sometimes would be a deterrent, frequent changes in the law, which again makes someone very confused about which law to follow, which law not to follow. And stringent licensing or permit requirements can hinder business entry and expansion for MSME. Access to finance, as you all know that access to finance, it is not only the availability, it is also accessibility and affordability that will be the game changer for this. And why we require finance is capital is required for growth, then working capital is required for expansion, for risk mitigation whenever there is unforeseen circumstances, and when we have to innovate any product or services. For these, we require financing. But the challenges and the potential solution, I will say both side by side. The challenges when we limited collaterals. Today, you see most of the MSME do not have collaterals to pledge. So when you do not have collateral, this is a request to Mr. Piyush, if you could consider this, that government and financial institution can introduce credit guarantee scheme. I know that it is available, but probably it is not enough for credit guarantee schemes. Sorry? Yeah. So you can still, because we are not that rich, we have not still reached that. So probably the credit guarantee scheme to minimize the collateral requirement, probably one. Second is high interest rates, high borrowing costs can burden MSME. So the solution again, this is my suggestion, encourage competition amongst financial institution and other interest rate subsidies or refinancing options for MSME, if that could be considered. Third is lack of credit history. Many MSME do not have a credit history, because of which they are unable to even seek loan. The solution that I would say is promote alternate credit assessment method. I think NISC is already doing that, but in case if there is an alternate credit assessment method such as cash flow based, credit assessment or peer-to-peer lending platform. Then informal finance also. When there is a shortage of funding, what happens? Most of this MSME go at private financing, which is given at exorbitant interest rate. What happens? Because of this, the MSME goes, within a year, they are unable to pay up. And therefore, a financial literacy, that is also equally important. Today, everybody jumps into this thinking that once they take loan, they will be the next unicorn. But if they are not aware of how this finance is going to be utilized, that is going to be a very bad path for them. Yeah, I think we have practically covered the collateral part. Sorry, I'm using a mobile, that is why I'm... Yeah, lack of credit history. I mentioned access to equity capital and government support. So these would be multiple segments that I would request if Mr. Piyush can look into. Second is how the market influences the market. What is the demand and competition that is currently present in the market? That is how the market influences an MSME. So how an MSME can work on it is to have a BI. Nobody thinks today that analytics or a market research is required, and unless a research is done as to what is prevalent today, what are the competitors in the market, unless this is process and systems are put in place, getting a MSME onto the path is fine, but it will stumble down the lane because it will not have the necessary research which it should do for whether be it product for sustainability is on innovating their services and product. Then if it is customer, if their business is on customer centric and they focus on the customer, what is going to stay back, and also whether their business model is going to be agile, whether it will sustain the pressures of the time. And collaborating, like what is my strength, maybe somebody's weakness, what is somebody's weakness would be my strength. If you can collaborate with multiple partners, probably that is the road forward. And digital presence, as we all know that today is a digital world, and how we are going to scale up is unless we are technologically advanced, we will not be able to sustain for long. And last but not the least, the pricing and how we manage our cost. Role of technology, which all of us know, whether efficiency or productivity is directly related with how technology, adoption of technology is done. And market access, technology provides MSME with a broader reach, allowing them to tap into regional and global market. Innovation, technology fosters innovation by enabling an MSME. Cost reduction, digital tools can help with analytics. Customer engagement, how we are customer-centric, that will define our role forward. And impact of digital transformation will change the market reach, operational efficacy, competitiveness, e-commerce, global presence, and adaptability. I'm just reading this because of pause of time. And demographic. Somebody did mention over here about how the demographic makes a difference. Today, not only the demographic dividend is not only of the region, it is also on age. I have seen the kind of products and services, we have so many options and choices that this is also making a lot of impact in what product and service will. And in some of the states, you will see only aged population, particularly from the state where I come. There are more number of 60+ people than the younger one because everybody is westward ho, whether be it education or work. And consumer behavior, we are choosy about what we want. Like you will, all of us, when we are doing online purchase, you will know that you will keep skipping, whether be it on Insta where they are pumping these kind of, ads. I may not want to buy, I will always do a comparison. So consumer behavior is something that we need to target. And aging population, ethical consideration like the water bottle that he mentioned, whether I should continue with this business or not, whether I should think of sustainable products. Then what is my digital native, which is the segment that I need to target. If it is younger generation who are much more tech savvy, possibly that is what I need to target. Cultural diversity, I need to keep in mind what will sell in which state, which area, which kind of segment do I target. And after COVID, the health and wellness trend that has come in, that is one market that we have not tapped as much as possible. And similarly, remote work, which is again a product of COVID, whether we have enough services and products in that segment. So these are some of the social factors that have come into place. This is just a recap of what I mentioned: access to finance, regulatory burden, market competition, technological adoption, and consumer behavior. These are multiple segments that these challenges can be filled by. Next. These are multiple challenges that are faced by MSME because of all these factors that I mentioned. And next slide, please. The opportunities and strategies for these would be diversifying our product, having digital presence in whichever segment we are, collaborating with the strength that each of us have, and of course with Mr. Piyush's consideration, government support in whichever way possible, financial literacy, whomsoever is in that segment, to have more events like this where financial literacy can be imparted, innovation, any product line that anybody wants to develop, one event where we can ask them to come up and say that 10 years from now, your product line, what are the aspects that one need to keep in mind, keeping in mind the new generation, and how customer-centric that we can. And finally, I started with the definition, the significance of it, and what is the multiple factors which influences, and how these factors can be mitigated, what are the challenges that we are facing, and how these opportunities, how we have to create strategies for it. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to come here and to speak, and I'm sure there would be some who would have at least taken some points from me. Thank you so much.
That was indeed a lot of learnings and an engaging address. I would request Ms. Divya Singh, CRO, Jagran New Media, to kindly come up on the stage and present a memento as a token of appreciation to Wing Commander Rajashri D. Nair. Well, after these power-packed and insightful keynote and special addresses, it's time for our first panel discussion of this evening. We all know that innovative digital technologies have played a significant role in empowering micro, small, and medium enterprises in India. MSMEs are the backbone of Indian economy, contributing significantly to employment generation and economic growth. The adoption of digital technologies has enabled them to enhance their productivity, streamline their operations, and access new markets. So our first panel discussion is on the topic Innovative Digital Technologies Empowering MSMEs in India. By the time we settle for the panel discussion, I'll request my team to kindly pass on the hand mic to me so that I can come among the audience and understand check, and understand what idea does our audience have on the topic which we are going to discuss, innovative digital technologies empowering MSMEs in India. So we have our esteemed guests who will be sharing their insights on the topic with us. But before commencing this panel discussion, sir, very quick, in a sentence or two, I will request you to kindly explain what all expectations do you have from this panel discussion. Your name, please, sir.
My name is H.K. Agarwal. I am specialized in the field of industrial electronics, mobile engineering, and various other subjects including high vacuum technology from UK during 1952-53 period. Now the question with MSME is the problem set by the government policies. You see, there are three very important points, as here it was rightly mentioned: marketing, technology, innovation. Now, as far as technology is concerned, the government is giving 20,000 crore rupees as subsidy unnecessarily to foreign organizations. Not a single paisa for technical institutes to develop these technologies. Second point is, no, you see, madam, I was involved as...
I completely understand, sir, but very quick because we have a huge audience. I
Okay,
would love to have a
okay, finish. I mean, this is my point, that money should go to technical institutes instead of going to foreign companies in import of CKD and SKD kits. Thank you, madam.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Sir, very quick, I would request you. Yeah.
I am President FIVA, so I am also, looking after the interest of promoting MSME for the promotion of the EV industry. My question is directly pinpointed to Director Madam from Dell. What incentives you have as a cost of laptop for the MSME company? Because I have myself running a company, I am getting nothing, madam. To be frank.
So, question part we can take afterwards because we have a networking lunch break. Ma'am, I would request you to take up the questions.
Because it was a live question, madam.
Absolutely.
Let us hear from one,
Absolutely, sir.
Technology is the key to success.
I completely
and that
understand.
Is the topic also. So
I completely understand, sir. I completely understand, sir. Maybe, sir, we can take these questions because we are preparing for our panel discussion. So this was supposed to be for a panel discussion. अगर आपके पास panel discussion को लेकर के जो शुरू होने वाला है हमारे टॉपिक को लेकर के अगर आपके पास कुछ इनपुट्स हो और कुछ एक्सपेक्टेशंस हो इस पैनल डिस्कशन से रिलेटेड आई एम श्योर आवर पैनलिस्ट विल टेक अप दोज कंसर्न्स बट उसके अलावा इफ देयर इज एनीथिंग एल्स आई थिंक दैट कैन बी टेकन अप ड्यूरिंग द टी ब्रेक एनीथिंग वेरी क्विक वेरी शॉर्ट just related to the upcoming panel discussion. Thank you so much.
Hello, I'm Sunil Mohendru from Digicom Consulting, and for MSMEs who can't spend much in technology, how about the data security for the MSMEs?
Great question. Great question. So I think, sir, we'll take it up during the panel discussion and maybe after the panel discussion because there'll be a Q&A session as well. So maybe during that Q&A session, we take up these questions. So in the meanwhile, let us start the first panel discussion of this evening, and I have the privilege of inviting our esteemed guest, our distinguished guest for this panel discussion. Shrut Kirti Vashisht, Regional Head, Google Workspace, Vidya Sagar Singh, Head, Corporate Planning, Digital Services and Training, Ministry of MSME, Government of India, Avneet Singh Marwa, CEO, Super Plastronics Private Limited, SPPL, Sajja Praveen Chaudhary, Head, Policy Bazaar for Business, Sanjay Khandelwal, AGM, Strategy and Operations, Just Dial, Anay Pathak, Global Account Manager, Alliance Dell Technologies. And this panel discussion will be moderated by Jaspreet Singh, Partner and National Leader, Client and National Market, Trust and Transformation, Grant Thornton. So ladies and gentlemen, Avneet Singh Marwa, CEO from Super Plastronics Private Limited, is running a bit late. We'll be joined by Avneet Singh Marwa in some time. But in the meanwhile, I would request the distinguished guests who have joined us for this panel to kindly take your seats and we can commence this panel discussion. So I request you. I request all the panelists to kindly take a look at the pictures behind and take their respective seats. That will indeed be very helpful. Thank you so much. We highly appreciate this.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I don't think so this will work. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, fellow panelists. Indeed, a very opportune moment when we are talking about two key aspects of our economy, right? The first one is obviously MSMEs and the digital transformation. Since 2019 end, it's very difficult to go into a meeting and not talk about digital transformation. That's what our lives have all become, right? And I'm pretty sure my panelists will echo that thoughts, that walking into a meeting and not talking about whether it's a cloud, whether it's AI, ML, chat, GPT, whatever. You know, the meeting takes, everybody's talking about all of this because this is the reality. And what we are trying to do here is look at how does this entire piece impact MSMEs, how can their growth be fastened and they leapfrog into the large corporate segment because of digital transformation. Obviously, by also looking at key things like data security, data privacy, there's the new data protection bill that's been passed on 11th of August. How does all that play a key role? And if I have to look at digital transformation, what are the technologies that I should look at, right? Should I follow technologies that everybody else is doing? Should I make my own roadmap? What is the government doing in this? We'll probably give all of this a thought. Let me start by, probably taking just initial comments from my fellow panelists. Shrutkirti, your initial comments, please.
Hi, am I audible to everybody?
Yes.
Okay, great. So hi everybody, I'm Shrutkirti and like Jaspreet mentioned, this is a very pivotal moment in the Indian economy specifically because we have seen the Indian economy get accelerated by multifold in the last 10 years, particularly after COVID. And sometimes macro factors are very critical in propelling an economy forward. And I believe that while COVID was a very difficult and tough time for India, post that, the acceleration that we have seen in digital businesses, the acceleration that we have seen in small businesses adopting and embracing technology to further move their business upwards has been tremendous. I will definitely add some more comments around what are the technologies that we are seeing as an organization adopt by MSMEs. But my initial thoughts are that this is a golden opportunity for the Indian economy to move forward.
Superb. So you've mentioned this is a golden opportunity for this to move forward, right? We'll take a note of that. Anay, your initial thoughts, please.
I hope I'm audible. Yeah. So I think there is an accelerated digital transformation which is happening after the pandemic, right? I mean, I'm talking about a very simple example. My daughter, how would she attend school? And it was out of syllabus for the EdTech, right? Because they were not prepared for the online classes, right? And something when it is out of syllabus for the industry as well, there were not enough devices to cater to work from home, right? So when pandemic kicked in, right, everyone has to answer this out of syllabus question which came. And everyone has to provide an answer to it, right? In a manner that the business can run, right? So MSMEs who were planning to go into a digital transformation approach by 2025 have transformed in 2022 itself, right? So that is where the effect have come in. And the cost of compute obviously is going down, right? So the data analytics can happen now in a much better way than the way it is happening, right? So that is where we see at Dell, probably there's a lot of technology factors which we are adding to, but everything has gone into an accelerated mode just because the things have changed drastically.
Thank you, Anay. I think very interesting comments. What's the largest university in the world? Anybody? So probably the largest university that at least I know of is WhatsApp University. And there's a message floating around on WhatsApp saying, what's the biggest propellant of digital transformation in India? The answer was COVID, right? With that, let's move to Vidya Sagarji. Your initial comments and especially around the entire government piece.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible? Yeah. So thank you, Jagran team, for this opportunity, and Jaspreet ji for this, this session, leading this session. So yeah, so when we talk about, there were a lot of session going on. I attended a few of them. So I think, about MSME, I think everybody would be aware now, what are the MSME challenges, classification and everything. So what I feel is that, in terms of this penetration of technology or adoption of technology, digital transformation in India, among the MSME sector is very, very low. And that's where the government role comes in to maybe facilitate, enable, to make this penetration level among the MSME little higher. I mean, we are there that, MSME, the adoption itself is not there. Forget about the which technology and, data privacy and data security. So the first one is, and most of you would be knowing, we have approximately 2 crore MSMEs registered on Udyam portal officially. Although as per the census, it's approximately 6.5 crore MSMEs in India. 2 crore are officially registered on Udyam portal. So out of that 2 crore, 97% are micro. And you have seen the definition of the micro, right? So whatever we are maybe discussing, our policy we are making, we have to keep this factor in mind that, at the bottom of the pyramid, this 97% people, how we are going to touch their life or their business, how we are going to impact. So which are the technologies or what are the policy which needs to be initiated? It should be very, very probably simple, basic, at least low-hanging fruits, for them at least, in the beginning. And then maybe we can go to the next level. So this would be, in the next probably round, I'll be touching few of the new initiatives which government have taken and is going to take. Some of the new scheme are going to be launched on this 22nd of November in Vigyan Bhavan. So that, we have been working very hard. So that also maybe I'll just share with you what's going to come. So if you are aware, then probably you can. So the biggest problem of the government scheme is that awareness is not there, right? So that is, I'll try to do some kind of, awareness building session here today at this platform so that you can use them or you can suggest those awareness or inform among your circles and family and friends. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. What I liked about the fact is, and probably some key takeaways is, we can't even treat MSME as one complete sector. Right? Because if there's a micro, which is a mom and pop shop with 2 people, a factory with 2 to 3 people versus maybe a multi-crore company, right? The adoption of digital would mean different for different things, and hence our technology, our framework, everything would need to cater to both ends of the spectrum. Thank you very much, sir, for saying that. Avneet, your initial comments, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Avneet. We deal with consumer durable products, consumer electronics. And I would like to start with, there are 2 things right now. There was blessing in disguise, I think, for India that COVID happened in 2020. Whatever we were expecting, as sir said, in next 5 years actually happened in 2 years. Especially the transformation, the speed of transformation that India had gone through. We deal in smart TVs. Whatever expectations we had, 96% in India right now is selling smart TVs. And this was the projection about in 2024-25. The reason behind was that because of COVID, there was no local production that was happening. So all the daily soap, etc., out of syllabus, as sir said. So people started shifting to OTT. And that's when the whole game started changing. And everybody was dependent on screen, either laptops, your monitors or television. And suddenly there was such a huge spike that there was shortage of semiconductors. Today, most of the companies, 70% of semiconductor companies have a stock of 18 months.
Wow.
So, you have to be balanced. We have learned digitalization doesn't mean that we go so aggressive first there was a shortage in supply chain, again there's advance, and most of the product what we are seeing right now, there is a huge advance in supply chain. So secondly, coming back, I think this is the best chance India ever had. Whatever examples we see as from a developing to a developed economy, and we always take China as example. The reason China got, from developing to developed country, one of the biggest reason was how their small enterprises have grown. And the next big challenge that India has, sir said that, we are very long, still there are penetration of digitalization is not there. But 29% of the contribution in GDP is from MSMEs. And one thing we lack right now is exports. We have a market of 1.4 billion people, but our actual market for most of the MSME goods are only 350 to 400 million people. So, we have to go out of this country. We have to, I've taken China as an example. Digitalization, for example, Alibaba or all of these sites are not for China, it's for global. If you want to have 5 units, 2 units, 1 unit, globally they're doing that through their digitalization. So that's what India need, that kind of transformation. Government has supported them. Most of the companies in China, government has a share, everybody knows that. So, these sort of policy driven, and you need to promote, not in India, I think globally.
I think very radical thoughts, especially on the export, because then you're automatically increasing your market presence by 5-6x of what you have, or I would say the target segment, right, where you can provide goods and services, and that's a very I think it was early 2000s when China opened up its borders, right? And then we've seen what happened in the last 20 years, especially in the manufacturing sector, right? Pick up any product, there are Chinese products of that variety which are completely there in the market. And then even from a digital perspective, they had digital payments, though our UPI is probably 100 years ahead of what they could achieve, but the digital payments launched in early 2000s when we were actually launching 2G phones and the phones were becoming more common in India. That's the digital transformation wave that they were looking for. Thanks for that. Mr. Sajai, your initial comments, please.
Hi, good afternoon. So, taking forward from what everyone has said, the way COVID has kind of moved the digitalization forward, and especially in the SME or the MSME segment, irrespective of whichever segment, right, we come at the bottom of the supply chain. Insurance is one thing that comes last, whether it's for individuals or companies, and unfortunately, that's where we do business about. COVID has changed a lot in the way a normal customer thinks about their individual choices of insurance, and that's where the entire transformation has happened. But despite the kind of digital transformation that happened on the MSME segment or the business side of it, right, I don't think that much of change has happened in terms of being or taking coverage that is required to kind of take care of your business or your interruption plans and all of that. That's one area which we at least have seen. I think it'll take a lot more, because when you said COVID, I think COVID impacted a lot of individuals and their families and their health and life, right? While we've been telling over the last 15 years that insurance is one thing which can kind of, at the end of the while, some people say government has to do this, that. It is not really feasible for government to do everything, right? At the end of the day, the tax is going to come from your pocket only. Yeah. So while insurance is one thing that can help in ensuring that one family does not move from above poverty line to below poverty line, or I'm taking a relative example, don't go exactly by the words, in an individual stage. That's the same thing which can happen in business also. And I think COVID has shown that on the individual side, which has made that movement happen. But I think on the MSME or the business side, while large business houses understand it, I think on the MSME side, we're still looking for that. I would not expect, that a COVID kind of incident happen and then people realize. But I think I think it's a transformation that is yet to happen there, and we're looking forward to it while we are kind of lining up solutions for it and whatever is
required in the direction, and I think we'll also see that sometime soon.
Superb. But, kudos to at least the sector. I think your sector's gone a radical change in the last 5 years, at least with whatever media coverage we see. Seems that buying insurance is just a click of a button away. So I'm pretty sure you've embraced digital at the forefront of it all. But while I was preparing, for this, I also saw that only 8% of Indians have insurance. Maybe we will talk about that when we come back to you next. Sanjay, leading a company which is completely digital in nature, right? Your complete business model is because of digital. What are your initial thoughts?
Check. Thanks, Jaspreet. So while you said we're leading a company that is completely digital in nature, but the clients we deal with have the least amount of digital presence. So one good thing is we've been working with MSMEs, and I would specifically say is micro and small shops. So when I talk about MSME here, I'm basically referring to the kirani ki dukaan or the shop in Karol Bagh or the salon or spa, anything that exists as an individual unit of business and not a chain or not a large business. And while we've been dealing with them, while we've been working with them, one thing I would say, I see them as a very important part of our economy. And the reason I say that is because they make us very robust. For example, there are two reasons. Number one is, so I was recently in Switzerland, and if you notice, when you go buy grocery, there are just two chains, right? There's Migros and there's Coop. Anywhere in Switzerland you go, you'll just find these two chains. And there's some small kirani ki dukaan that are called tabaks there. Now, should something happen to Migros or Coop, it makes the whole half of Switzerland vulnerable. Let's just say that. Contrary to that, in India, in the every next gully you will find a kiranika shop, right? Should one shop fail, it would just impact a small number of people, and eventually you will have another shop.
You would have 10 other options.
Exactly, right? So that's one, it really makes us robust and not make us fragile. And secondly, I think small and medium businesses really create opportunities of entrepreneurship, not just employment. So I come from a family of humble Marwari Banyas. So all of us have some kind of shop, some kind of small business everywhere. So when we think of startups, generally in our parlance today, we only think of businesses that are large, that are making billions, raising
Unicorns.
funds. Yeah. But I think my dad, my uncles, and everybody else, my mom, who started a small business and are sustaining it, are just as much entrepreneurs like anybody else. It's just that they're content with where they are and they just want to sustain it along with the family. So I want to represent them while we are having this discussion. And that's where we are. So we try, every time we think of a digital solution, and what I've seen is you can sit in boardroom, you can sit in your conference room, you can come up with the best digital product that you can come up with. The moment you go on the road, you meet business people, things change. Things significantly change, right? And that's where I think great amount of learning has come in as a digital company itself. So we'll bring up that about.
Thanks. And I'll probably, I don't know who said this, but I read a quote somewhere which echoes what you just said. Digital strategy is not for the CEO. It's for the last level of employee in an organization and the last customer that you deal with, right? He says more often than not, the digital strategy is written for the CEO, which should not be the case. I'll come back to you, Shrutkriti. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. News everywhere around workspaces, right? Online, offline, in office, hybrid. Probably the first piece I would want you to answer is, how has hybrid evolved in the last 2 years? What's the meaning of hybrid, right? Whether 50% home, 50% online, what are the tools from a workspace perspective? And then probably second is, what are the small businesses then doing about this entire hybrid workspace?
That's a pretty loaded question, Jaspreet, but I'll try to do justice to the question. So the first part of it is that, how has hybrid evolved, right? What does hybrid really mean? So while, this term has been there ever since COVID and everybody is, almost sick and tired of hearing what hybrid is, everybody pretty much understands what hybrid means. Why did hybrid even come into the picture? Because pre-COVID, there was no concept of hybrid. There was just sick leave and there was time in office, right? So right now we are at a place where everybody has become very comfortable, and that kind of flexibility that employees are given is actually making a very positive impact in everybody's life. Like Jaspreet just mentioned that, the digital strategy is not just about a CEO, it's about impacting the last level of your employees. So when we look at hybrid at Google and the way we have seen even the small businesses evolve, what hybrid essentially means to them is whether it is an information worker or it is a field worker, how are we giving them the right tools so that they have access to the right tool to do their job, number one. Number two, do they have the right data on their fingertips to be able to make the decisions that they have to make every day? This could be data collection, this could be data massaging, or this could simply be taking decisions based on the data that is provided to them. The third and very important aspect of this is a lot of the times small businesses rely on last mile field workers to be able to do the last mile job, whether it is delivery or whether it is information collection or simply around a certain process, right? For these workers, it is very critical that they have information in the hands of their handsets. Not everybody in an MSME environment will have desktops or will have an office to go to be able to have that secure environment to work. So how do we make sure that we are giving them the right tools to not only be able to do their jobs, but whatever access is provided to them on their personal device should also come in with a layer of security. This is something that we have on and off discussed a lot with organizations in the last 3 years. And how hybrid hence is changing is that while there is still a lot of debate around whether hybrid is good for you or not, largely basis one of the research that we have recently done at Google with The Economist. The research spoke about how at least 72% of the CEOs still feel that hybrid is a better strategy, which gives an agility to the organization and helps the employees get a lot of flexibility around their work. And hence, the meaning of hybrid is different, whether it is a large enterprise or whether it is an MSME. But at the end of the day, it is about making a strategy which works for your organization. Because the challenges that a small business faces is very different from the challenges that a large enterprise faces. So what is the culture you want to drive and what are your business goals? I think primarily these are the two things that determine what level of hybrid to work with.
Challenges and culture, right? And sorry, being in consulting for about 20 years, work from home never existed for us pre-22nd March. And after that, for about 6 months, we did not know what to do. So we ended up working 18 hours a day. And I think it was common for everybody because we knew that nobody's leaving home. And if you're not leaving home, you're at home, then you better as well as do some work for the company, right? And then other technologies helped us to contact people 24/7. But thank you for that. Really great insights. Let me come to you now and couple of questions. Since we're talking about digital transformation, what are some of the technologies today that you think that will propel these MSMEs into the next wave of growth, right? So maybe few technologies that you would be very passionate about. And second, obviously one thing is very easy to sit on the dice and say, everybody adopt AI, everybody adopt cloud or use ChatGPT. What are the challenges that they would need to overcome to implement these technologies?
Yeah, thank you. I think, am I audible? Yeah, so very, very, very valid question, right? First is technologies, and we all know the buzzword around AI, cloud, security, and so on, right? But MSMEs have to adopt these technologies in the right way as well, right? So while Dell as a company would provide you XPS or Precision or desktops and laptops and so on, right? We also have to look at the wider ecosystem which is available with Dell Technologies, right? So when it comes to AI, we would have the right services in place to tell you whether AI is the good fit for you or not, right? So I think first is to understand the technology landscape, and everyone wants to be in Gen AI as of today, right? As was with the cloud some time ago, right? And when we talk about hybrid workplace, and I think ma'am mentioned about it, in the end, we have to give this hybrid setup so that the transition is seamless. So I think Samriddhi touched on concept, right? A medical company, do they have that high-end devices at home to develop something which can help the greater cause, right? So that transition has to be seamless, and that is where, when it comes to the major technology factors, and as sir said, while we can use technology, where is the sustainability part of it? You heard about GenAI or chat GPTs of the world. Look at the sustainability factor. It is like going in negatives, right? To cool that devices, the powers, the cooling which is required is nowhere, right? So we also have to adopt to a technology which is sustainable, and MSMEs would be attracted towards open source. But are they secured? The security side of it, right? So for me, sustainability and security matters a lot. And that is where you would probably come to us and have those consulting or workshop which would help you choose the technology which is more sustainable and secure. Now, the last question probably which would come in everyone's mind is, I am a company with 1 or 2 employees, whether I should reach out to Dell or not, please do reach out to us, right? There is a booth outside. We have advisors for this segment specifically, and even if you are a one-person company or a 100-person company, the advisors would guide you through this digital transformation journey. And that is where we want to assist the MSME landscape.
Thank you so much, Anay. I'm a security guy by heart, and I don't know how I've stumbled on sustainability, but 14-year-old son, I asked him to search something on Google. What does he do? He opens ChatGPT and starts searching it, right? Unfortunately, that's how technology, as you said, is evolving without even thinking whether it's the right technology and what's the effect it's having on sustainability. Just for everybody here, if you pick up, not this Sunday, the last Sunday's newspaper, there was an article on ChatGPT, and ChatGPT annually uses as much water to run ChatGPT as the entire country of Ireland in 1 year. That's the water consumption of one AI tool we're talking about. So, you know, all sustainability evangelists are looking at this space very, very clearly and very, very closely, right? But I think everybody wants to hear from you, Vidyasagar sir, on what is the announcement on 22nd November that you just mentioned from a MSME perspective, and what is government doing to overcome whatever challenges are being faced by organizations today?
Yeah, sure. Just
sorry for putting you in the spotlight.
No. Before telling about the that what is going to be announced on 22nd by the Honorable Minister, I would like to, as we said that, the problem with the government scheme is the awareness, right? So first I would like to, talk about some of the existing or recent initiative of the Government of India, MSME Ministry specifically, just because many of you may not be aware. So, and that will be, there are many schemes, but I'll be, only touching the scheme which is relevant to the topic. Digital technologies or digital transformation. So there are 2-3 things. When we, as I said, that 97% are micro, and the micro turnover, as per Government of India definition, is up to 5 crore turnover companies are micro, right? 50 crore is small, and up to 250 crore is medium, and above 250 crore is large. So this is the Government of India definition. So, and you rightly said that, any policy, government policy cannot be, one policy fits all. Because of the, obviously, even 5 lakh ki company is there is a micro, and 250 crore is medium. So, and there is a, many of you might be knowing that there is a new term called nano. Yeah. So these although we talk about MSME, but there is something called nano, and nanos are who may be, the single person driven companies. And recently PM Vishwakarma scheme was launched by our ministry. Most of you would be aware. So maybe that would at least touch the lives of the nanos, which are primarily the traditional artisans. So, under 18 categories and all that. So we have been working on that. So that's there. So coming back to the topic. So, when we talk about digitalization or digital transformation among MSMEs, I will broadly divide into 2-3 things, maybe 3 categories. One is, the adoption of the ICT technologies among the MSMEs, information and communication technologies, which we are talking about. That is one. Second is maybe adoption of e-commerce, because that's maybe same but relatively little different from the market access point of view. And third is about the skilling and training on these technologies, because of course they don't know, they are not aware. So then what is happening in all these 3 aspects is by the NSIC or the MSME Ministry is, first is ICT technology adoption, right? So there is recently NSIC have launched a scheme called ICT facilitation for MSMEs. So what we noticed is that many of the MSME, even they do not have the basic ERP or CRM or even legitimate accounting software. Now after the compulsion of the GST and e-billing and all that, maybe they are being pushed into the formal sector in adoption, but as of now, many of them were managing their accounting on the Excel sheet, or somebody else was managing, or they were using maybe the pirated software. So everything happens, it's India. So that is one of the challenge. Low-hanging fruits, I would call them. So these basic things, to manage their day-to-day operation by adopting these technologies, basic one, very, very basic. We have come up with the scheme, and what we are doing is we are partnering with the leading service providers. We have already started. We have empaneled some of the leading service providers so that we can offer these things through NSIC at a special price or a special offer, and there is a reliability factor, because as of now, if they want anything, they don't know, and there is always a fear among MSME because they are not tech savvy, so there may be fear of exploitation, who is the right technology, where to go and all that. So to overcome, because we are, for NSIC, we are more than 66, 67-year-old organization, there is some kind of credibility, some kind of touch base with the local industry association, MSMEs. So there is some comfort, and we are into running so many schemes of the commercial, the ministry, subsidies and nodal, schemes, promotional schemes. So there is a kind of touch, and a lot of walk-ins, people keep coming. So what we thought that if we can become one-stop solution for all MSME needs, it will be easier for them. They don't have to run from pillar to post. And so that was the idea. So I initiated this. It took me a lot of time and launched the policy. So we have already empaneled, and we are looking for, all kind of, service providers, partners in this domain to join hands, because government organization job is not to again recreate the ERP, waste years, and then that's not really relevant. There will be bureaucracy. We all know, right? So the best is join hand with the leading service provider and help MSMEs are the sector that will be more efficient, faster, and probably coming together, we will be able to do much better than working in silos. So that is one there. The second is adoption of e-commerce. So what is happening is, we all know, I was with Jabong, before joining NSIC. I was with Aditya Birla Retail. I was with TPG. So I have the corporate background. I have, I was with Lean Fung, it's world's #1 consumer goods sourcing company. So I understand the business, MSMEs, their pain points. So, e-commerce, we all have been reading, from last few years that e-commerce business is growing in India like anything, and this is the, the festival sale, this is what happened. But when it comes to MSME share in that business, the reality is totally different. What is happening is that, all the business, maybe 80-90% of the business is, siphoned out by the just few big companies, and that too of those, platform companies, their own subsidiaries, sister concern. And ministry and government of India realizes this. From last 5 years, we have been, struggling to find out a solution. We called all the leading service provider, all the top service provider in the ministry meeting, but they have their own, ways and limitation, whatever. So what we did is that, so to overcome that solution, obviously, many of you would be knowing the ONDC have come in. So ONDC is actually the brainchild of all those problems which, we have been trying to solve, not to have the monopoly, duopoly kind of decision, give the right weight, due importance to the MSME, do not, kind of put unnecessarily kind of pressure, or do not skew them in the sense of margin and all that. But that was not happening. So the open network for digital commerce, many of you would be knowing, have come in, and that's going to really transform the way, e-commerce will be, happening in India and globally. It's a very, very unique kind of initiative. First in the world in India, it's going to be the second UPI, right? So if you are already have not explored the ONDC as a MSME, I would highly encourage you to try out, join ONDC, this bandwagon. And so now, since this topic have come, so this on 22nd, new scheme of the Ministry of MSME is going to be announced, and that is related to this. Sure. So team scheme, trade enablement and marketing support scheme is to be launched on 22nd. So that will help MSME take benefit of this, ONDC? Because again, how many of you are into some product manufacturing and, B2C, B2B? Maybe, can I ask?
Many.
Okay. So are you still there on ONDC? No. So that's why. So because there is a, kind of awareness gap, there is some kind of fear, we don't know where, exploitation, all that. So government is coming up with an initiative with financial assistance also. So that's the best part, to help MSMEs on board, take benefit of this new technology. ONDC, a lot of awareness session and workshop are planned across India, including the onboarding, financial assistance for cataloging, for onboarding, including the account management, right? Because that's the problem. We have seen, I was in Jabong, so see people on board, but they do not do any business for many months. They are not able to do. They do not understand the platform, order processing, cataloging, promotion, what is the right keyword you should write in their description on all those things, right?
Sure. I think, sir, you've touched the entire universe of the problems that everybody is facing, right? You mentioned, I'll probably take 2-3 key takeaways. One is technology as a service, which is minimum baseline that everybody should have for the ease of doing business. The second, you said policy, procedures, and awareness. I think excellent key points, right? Avneet, 5 key points from a digital transformation perspective that all MSMEs should take care of. If you were to advise people, everybody sitting here, on what are the 5 key initiatives they should take?
I think starting from, if you have identified the product, firstly, how to backward integrate. That's, I'm talking about micro, above small, okay? If you have identified the product, backward integration, if that's, you can assemble, manufacture, produce, whatever. Second, most important, that comes out to be the BOM, that you have to be very, very competitive, okay? How you will be competitive through digitalization. Let me just complete. How you will be, firstly, the problem was that because digitalization was not very common, anybody who's in Patna, anybody who's in Guwahati, anybody who's in Bhopal will never used to get same price. Now, through digitalization, we have single price across. E-commerce, for example, then first MRP came and then discounts and etc. etc. Today we have one price and 19,000 pin codes. Okay, so price bomb that comes in. Third is how well you can sell through e-commerce. Okay, I may differ from sir. From a small to medium, large, I think e-commerce has made us. Okay, and we were one of them who used to just produce about 50,000 odd smart TVs. Today we're producing more than 750K, and e-commerce was that time was about 6%. Today it's 39%.
So technology has enabled you to do this.
Absolutely. Then comes out to be your quality through digitalization, to your capabilities. And let me, as sir said, that all this digitalizations, etc., comes at a very later stage. First, we have to correct our fundamentals. This country needs more of skilled labor than unskilled laborers. And that's where you have to, wherever, if you have 1 employee, 10 employees, 10,000 employees, it's how you skill your employees from day one. That will transform your product. Last, supply chain and after sales of that product. Very, very important. Through digitalization, if my SLA was 10 days, how to reduce it to 2 days.
Absolutely.
Okay, supply chain again, same. Delivery. How can I have through digitalization, how can I have small warehouses across the country, cut down the main warehouse, divide by 1/3, and then per square feet, how can we divide and do through digitalization, how can I reduce my SLA? So these are a couple of points that I have made. Now, just to add one more thing of AI, it's a very special thing. So when this AI whole chat GPT thing came in, So I thought I should start from my own name, that, what is the information, what's the background. And when I searched my name and the university I graduated, I showed to my dad, see, Dad, you don't know that I graduated from this university. You should be really proud. I was not graduated from that university, by the way. Until today, it's the same problem. So
nice. We have to treat it with caution also, right? On
exactly.
What we, But I think some excellent points, especially I like the point around you need to go back to your business to see what are the use cases where you will drive digital, and it will affect every single aspect of your organization, supply chain, etc. Before I come to you, Saja, I'll probably jump to Sanjay. And Sanjay, since you mentioned the Kiryana stores, etc., and Avneet spoke about skill development, awareness, literacy, how would you tackle, or how are you facing this problem of digital transformation? Every single day you get up in the morning, there's a new technology that people are talking about. Somebody's, LLM 6 months ago for 99.9% of us on earth did not exist. And now ChatGPT is like a household name. Your thoughts on the entire awareness piece?
Well, for example, my uncle is a diamond trader in Surat. But if you ask him to book a ticket on IRCTC, he can't do it for the life of us.
We are friends now. Yeah.
So one of the biggest challenge, for example, we face as an organization as Just Style is the very first point that you mentioned, which is awareness, right? You can talk about why people don't adopt digital technology, why they don't understand it, etc., etc., etc. But the very first problem, and the one that we try to solve in the initial phase, is trying to help people understand the importance of internet. To give you just a very small example, our direct replica, for example, in the United States is Yelp, right? Now, if you go to Yelp, and you will see there are banks. So there are people posting reviews on banks, and banks are replying to it, right? Here, most people would not post a review for banks. And even if they do it, I suspect if there'll be a reply to that.
Yeah.
Second, in most cases, like for example, Google or Facebook, most of the products are self-served. So there's not a sales assistant who's helping you drive your campaigns, everything, until unless you're a very big company on these platforms. Similarly, on Yelp, a significant chunk of the revenue comes through self-serve, where businesses directly choose their keywords, choose the demography they want to target, etc., etc., etc.
Just Dial wouldn't that be that easy?
Just Dial wouldn't be or would be easy, but it's extremely difficult for us to tell our customers, so you need to just do it yourself. Because every time we go, first we need to tell them, so why internet is important, why it is important for you to get reviews of your customers on the platform. Because today, every time somebody is looking for a business, the first place they go to is on the internet, right? And they look for a business. So if you appear there in any platform which is relevant for you, you will get those discoveries and businesses that you want to get.
First name of recall.
Exactly. So the very first problem that we really try to solve is awareness there. Now, even if there is awareness, the second question that comes in is ability. I'll just give a very recent example. I was on field with a sales executive, so we're trying to build a product, and I was with him trying to meet customers and see how the conversation goes. And he got a call from one of our customers, right? And he said, you got to come now and meet me. So our executive who visits customers and sells our product, we went from Andheri to Dahisar in Mumbai, which is like 15-20 kilometers. It's a very important part of his day. And I thought maybe something went wrong. When we went in there, and he just warmly welcomed us and nothing chai vai bulai. And फिर problem बताए, problem ये थी उनको सिर्फ photo upload करनी थी अपने listing में. Now all you have to do is go into your listing, click on photo, upload it. But the customer didn't want to do it, and of course our executive was very nice and हाँ sir मैं कर देता हूँ. हम 5 मिनट का काम था वो. So
awareness plays such a key role.
Awareness.
And intent.
Exactly. So what I've seen is and it's not like people don't want to learn, because I have seen, again, as I said, Marwadi families, right? Most of my relatives are spread across South India. My dad can speak Kannada, my aunt can speak Tamil, they are in Chennai. जब business के लिए ज़रूरी होता है सब सीख लेते हैं. The thing is, right now they don't see the importance of it, because the value that you gain takes certain time, right? And you don't get it immediately.
How you can go from X to 10X?
Exactly.
With that. With that, I'll come to you. Just one minute. I'll come to you. With that, I'll come to you, Saja. Selling insurance products on digital, why is the uptake not happening? What are the challenges you are seeing, right? Sanjay mentioned some of the challenges. What are you seeing in your industry?
So I think when I said uptake, See, we've seen a very, very rapid uptake as the e-commerce progressed, where Indians, over a period of time, the individuals started buying things more and more often online. They got comfortable with paying online. They became comfortable with entering their credit card details, bank details online. And that's where, as I said, right, insurance comes at the bottom of the pyramid for everyone, or at the end of the supply chain. Just to take an example, not really related to business, but even for an individual, you don't really wake up dreaming, today I'm going to go to this website and buy health insurance, or today I'm going to wake up and I'm going to buy term insurance. Although it's important, right? It takes a lot. Like you're going on the road and you've seen someone pass away, or you come to office and someone says, my aunt got hospitalized and she does not have insurance and the bill came to 50 lakhs. That's what changes, and that's where COVID changed for individuals, and the heavy uptake has come in. Now, when we speak about MSMEs or SMEs as such, see, corporates, large corporates, over a period of time, I think they've learned from the risks that have happened with them. See, you see a 10 crore shipment going bad, which means you need to have marine insurance or transit insurance in place. Or you've seen your factory go down with some kind of fire or floods, which means you've taken a loss of about, say, 100 crores on the facility, under 50 crores on business interruption, which is a 150 crore loss. Now, you cannot just take it, right? So today, large corporations have actually people who are sitting on their payroll who also take care of their entire insurance portfolio. Yeah. But when it comes to SMEs and MSMEs, I think one, obviously, there's always a lack of, or how do you spend that last penny wisely? Obviously, that thought is there. Having said that, there is a lack of, I think, push or education also that happens in terms of or the fundamental thing which I said about what happened on the e-commerce side, which led to individuals change, or the COVID thing which led individuals to change. I think that level of, obviously that kind of event has never happened on the MSME side. And that's one of the probably things, hence, we're still not seeing on the MSME side. But having said that, there's a lot of impact, or there's a lot of movement that's happening on the product side, and, on the propositions that are being developed, especially from some of the government segments, right? I think there's a scheme that's being run in Kerala by the government, on Maharashtra by the government, for especially shop owners or small kind of MSME outlets or segments kind of. So some of these are still yet to happen. And I think from government side also, what we would expect is, rather than spending that money or taxpayer money in terms of by giving out, in the form of whatever you call it, whenever an incident happens, you should kind of, I think it should happen that it should be proactive, or the messaging should go in terms of buying that insurance, so that you don't spend that much of money, right? Probably you spend about 1/10 of money in ensuring that people take insurance of their own, and then they become self-sustainable, or you call it Atmanirbhar. Yeah? So that's how it is.
So again, goes back to awareness. Yeah, Shudkirti,
I just want to play off of what Sajja and Sanjay both mentioned. I think extremely interesting points. So I think I want to play off of what you said, Sanjay, where you were speaking about a simple image upload and how a business is facing issue with that. There is AI that can significantly play a role in that case, and of course that will come with a lot of awareness, a lot of education, because AI and MSMEs are very, very far off. Like Sir also mentioned, we have a long way to go, right? So it's not exactly fair. But it's like a point in history where at least we are building off of these models. And like Jaspreet mentioned that, a year ago LLM would have been somebody only a data scientist or a code engineer would have known. Today all of us at least know that word, right? We understand what it means, even if we don't know in depth what an LLM can do. However, what we are seeing very interestingly, even in the SMB and MSME business, is that how do you take these models and take it and transform these models in such a way so that it becomes, like you said, technology as a service. So there are small businesses, and I can call out one of the women-founded startups called Mad Street Den. They are a women-led business, and she's building off these models which can help small mom-and-pop stores to actually upload images and make sure that only through image recognition models you can categorize and classify that product, which is going to in the future make it very, very easy for even small retail owners. And she's just starting off with retail, but in the future, that's the beauty of AI. it can encompass literally any industry, because once you have an algorithm and a model in place, you can duplicate it, apply it to insurance, apply it to manufacturing or any other industry for that matter. So this is something that we are seeing this increasingly in our organization. The other thing I want to mention, something very interesting that you mentioned, Sajay, is that there has to be a trigger point. For example, in insurance, sometimes, there has to be either a necessarily negative trigger point, which is extremely sad, but that's the reality of the insurance business. What we are seeing in the MSME space is that continuity of business and ensuring that continuity of business is maintained is a very important trigger point for folks to even look at infrastructure from a technology lens. Right? When we speak about continuity of business, what I essentially mean is your systems, your processes, and your data. Are they going to be persistently and continuously available to you and to your employees to make sure that you are making those decisions that you need to make on a day-to-day basis? And this is where the whole cloud story comes in. We are very far from 20 years ago where we saw, data used to be either kept manually or in paper-based or files and, maybe local servers, which is still the case for a lot of MSMEs. But going forward, what we are seeing that even in the SMB space, there is huge cloud adoption, which means that the availability of infrastructure and availability of data becomes a very critical point for them to just continue their business.
I think excellent points, but on whatever you said, especially with the women entrepreneurs example that you gave, I think all of this just aids the ease of doing business. I think if we use this well, our ranking would probably go up right through the roof when we, from an ease of doing business perspective globally. With this, I think, I've been already pestered twice to stop this, but I would want to start with you, Anay. Just last one conclusion, one line on what do you think will next 5 years look like? And then, sir, I'll probably come to each one of you. Just one last line.
I think we are into the data decade anyways, right? So while the data is evolving, we can't escape from digitalization, right? I mean, my mom is doing a video call. I would have never imagined this before, right? So ultimately, the internet, you can't go away from internet. You have to come to internet. You have to be aware about it. And that is where awareness is important, because you have to use it with the security features bundled in. You have to make sure that you use it wisely, right? Because while you have to use the internet, technology should not be an afterthought. You should think about it with your product itself so that you can multiply in next 5 years is what I would say.
If technology is an afterthought, then the business is also an afterthought.
Absolutely.
Today. Absolutely. Vijay sir.
Yeah, so I would just like to, request with all of you is that stay informed. There are a lot of things happening. There are a lot of facilities, benefits available, but probably information gap is there. So I would, because we, at NSIC, we have the training center on all these latest technology, including AI, AR, VR, 3D printing, robotics, all Industry 4 components. And we are training, some of the renowned engineering colleges of India, professors we are training on IoT and all those things. So those facilities are available to all MSMEs also. So I would request that, please visit our website, please visit our, facility in the Okhla, and then you will be amazed to see what kind of work is being done, what are the facilities available to you. Government is offering 75% subsidy for increasing adoption of e-commerce. But people are not, aware, they are not using. So just stay informed, visit, some of the relevant portal, champions.gov.in of the MSME Ministry, nsic.co.in. And then I think you will be able to, take a lot of benefits and, grow your business. Thank you.
Right. Like I tell a lot of my friends who are visiting India for the first time, India is not 500 companies. India is 2 lakh companies, right? And an innovation is at every house. Avneet, your closing comments.
I think we need a marriage of tradition and Gen Z. We need that for next 5 years. It's very important if you want to go the digital way. It's very important to break that tradition, and things are improving. And Gen Z and millennials and alpha now, how to retain their patience with experience. Very, very important. I think I see a lack over there. And if that marriage goes well, nobody can stop India.
Yeah. The only comment there is, I think our pace is decent, but maybe that can be propelled by using some kind of nitro there, right?
That's what I'm saying, that we have to come out of the comfort zone.
Yeah.
We have to come out of the comfort zone. 70 hours, 90 hours, 100 hours, so on.
We can have a personal discussion later on that 70 hours thing. Sajay, your closing comments, please.
So, as I think as the MSME sector moves ahead on adopting technology more and more, I think we're also very well looking forward to it. As I said, as you, as leaders of the industry or the people who kind of push them towards it, we are always prepared, and we are the ones who are on the other side, who are kind of able to or have the ability today for all the MSMEs to be able to get such kind of covers or facilities in insurance, which otherwise were kind of only there for large corporates and were not available or were not made available in such a competitive way, which whether it's pricing, whether it's in terms of features of products, whether it's a products for your employees, or whether it's about products for industries kind of thing, and the kind of savings that you could get from comparing, which otherwise kind of would have been sold at say 2x the cost or 3x the cost kind of, and we look forward to that kind of adoption on insurance and being able to kind of take care of the risk as you adopt technology, and as you adopt rest of the things. There's also risk that starts to come in whether it's about you kind of moving across 10 stores across the country instead of one store, and you being there and being able to sort it out versus not being there, or similar kind of thing with respect to other risks that are associated with it.
I think excellent uptake of insurance, not only MSMEs, not only because of DT. I think as a society, we could do much, much better on that. And I think awareness would play a very, very key role. Thank you for that. Sanjay, last but not the least, your closing comments.
Thanks, Jaspreet. I'll just share a learning that I've had in the last couple of years. So I've been working for 7 years, and one thing that I've seen is in terms of when you talk about strategy, be it digital strategy or any kind of strategy is great on paper and decks, but the moment you hit the field, you realize a lot of things don't stand. So one thing I realized, and I've worked on quite a few projects that have tanked and some projects that did well, and one of the significant difference in the way we do it differently now is before you start building something, go down and actually speak to that salon person or speak to the kirana wala shop or speak to the jewelry store. A lot of times you'll understand that you may be extremely excited about building a solution for a problem that does not exist. So speaking to the customers, speaking to the MSMEs, and actually understanding will give us more insight and maybe help us optimize for our cost and time than perhaps directly building products. So that's been my learning, and that is what I would want to end with.
Excellent. Just 2 points there. One is being connected to the end customer for whom we are building, right? It should not be that we are in our mind building a rocket and actually wants a car, right? And the second piece on strategy, any forces people here, I read this quote, which is very famous in forces. It says that all strategies go for a toss when the first bullet is fired. Please give a huge round of applause for all my panelists. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you once again, everyone. And now I would request Mr. Jaspreet Singh to kindly felicitate all the guests who have joined us for this discussion. First, Ms. Shrutkirti Vashisht. You can stand here. Excuse me. Mr. Vidya Sagar Singh. Mr. Avneet Singh Marwa. Mr. Sajja Praveen Chaudhary. Mr. Sanjay Khandelwal. And Mr. Anay Pathak. Thank you once again, everyone, for that engaging panel discussion. I request you all to kindly come forward for a group picture, please. Thank you once again, everyone. And with this, we have come to another interesting fireside chat. The micro, small and medium enterprises play a pivotal role in the economic and social development of the country, often acting as a nursery of entrepreneurship. They also play a pivotal role in the development of economy with their effective, efficient, flexible, as well as innovative entrepreneurial spirit. Now, the important point, which remains the focal point in this context, is digital transformations for small businesses, helping them achieve growth. And for this fireside chat, we have an eminent guest, Mr. Amit Murarka, Head SMB Greenfield Sales, AWS India and SARC. And this panel discussion will be moderated by Mr. Nandakumar Nair, Video Head, News and Info, Jagran New Media. Let us welcome Mr. Amit Murarka, Head SMB Greenfield Sales, AWS India and SARC. Can we put our hands together, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you.
Thank you, Smriti. Thanks a lot. Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot. First of all, I know इंतजार हो रहा है चाय पे चर्चा का इंतजार हो रहा है. But first of all, a huge round of applause to this lovely audience. Because I moderate session every week, I have never seen an audience this engaging at all in last few months. So thank you very much. A huge round of applause, please, for each and every person who is sitting here. Thank you very much. The session was really very engaging. Loads and loads of insights, and I'm sure all our viewers who are sitting here or watching online must have seen the change, the badlav that is required. So at Jagran New Media, that's what we believe in. We believe in Naya Bharat. We believe in badlav. And that's the reason we all sit here, engage in discussion and try to bring something new to the table. This particular session is going to be very, very important. It's not going to be a very long session, I assure you this. It's going to be a 15 minutes crisp section that we are looking to. And with me, as Smriti said, Mr. Amit Murarka, who is the head SMB Greenfield Sales, AWS India and SARC. Amit, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Anand.
Usually, whenever I'm getting into a moderation seat, I try to engage with my guest in advance, talk to him a little bit. What are the key points that we should touch upon are going to help the audience. And just in 5 minutes, I was absolutely clear that in this 15 minutes, I'm going to learn a lot more than I would have gained in last 15 days of reading on digital technology, transformation, going to tier 1, tier 2, 3 cities, understanding the people, grassroots and everything. So, Amit, thank you very much. And as one of our speakers in the last session said, all the strategies goes for a toss. If you don't understand the real SME, the grassroots problems, right? And that is something that even I have seen whenever I'm engaged with these small and medium enterprises. They ask me a simple question, you know, especially from the manufacturing and the service side. Why do we need digitalization? What are the basics of digitalization? When do we start and how do we start? How to understand that very simple thing, that how digitalization is going to help me and why?
Sure, and thanks, Nand. I think a very loaded question, if I may say. And I think his introduction, he said he's going to learn a lot in 15 minutes. And I think he was just putting the pressure back on me, right? So guys, I hope I can live up to his expectations. You know, firstly, thank you so much, Nand and Jagran BADLAV for having me. And the lovely audience, guys, I hope I can add value to you all, right? Over the next 15 odd minutes. I want to start with one thought, right? See, when we talk about digital transformation, and again, like I know Mr. Khandelwal before me was talking about it,
I also come from an entrepreneurial family background, right? And very often I know people get really worried about these words, digital transformation. Let me just simplify it, right? Firstly, it is not a task. In my mind, it's a journey, right? For any MSME or any company out there, walking the path of digitization is a journey. And one has to decide where is the starting point. You don't need to worry about the end point. Because as you start adopting digital technologies and you start, going down the path of digitization, you will see more and more things unfolding in front of you. Simply putting it, there can be two dimensions to it, right? You can either think of digital transformation within the company, and that could be for a particular issue that you're facing. It could be for a particular point in time problem that you do have. How can you adopt technology to solve that? Or you can think of digital transformation from an outside perspective. How can I do more with it? How can I adopt digital technology to sell more, to reach out to more customers, to maybe enter new geographies, new countries, etc., right? Or service them better. So just simply putting it, at least the first perspective in my mind always when I think about digital transformation and when I think about MSMEs, right, when we speak to them, is what really is either your problem and secondly, what is your aspiration? Now, why should digital transformation be at the forefront for all of you all sitting here, right? I was reading a study the other day, right? So obviously the MSME sector contributes to 34% of the GDP for India, which is huge, right? But what is even more interesting is that study said over the next 5 years, you all will contribute to 50% of India's GDP. Now that's the kind of unprecedented growth that our SMBs, our MSMEs are seeing today in the market. And this is post-COVID, right? So this kind of growth did not exist earlier. I know there were certain slowdowns and shortfalls we all faced, right, in the business during the COVID phase. But after that, things have really looked up, right? And now why is this happening? Now, in every conversation that I have with most of, founders, heads of businesses in these MSMEs is, they're all thinking aggressive growth. There is no single CEO who's not thinking of how do I expand my business, probably double, right, in every year. Now, this growth mentality is what is driving, this push, right, that how do I grow faster than what I was growing last year? Now, you can do it by just adding people, right? But that's not always a solution. So they're looking for newer solutions, innovative solutions. And this is what is driving or the need for adoption of digital technologies. Obviously, we've all heard of startups, right? At Amazon, at AWS, we work extensively with startups. On an average, India adds 20,000 startups every year. Now, if I just remove the word startup, these are basically new SMBs that are challenging all of us, right? They are also doing business, very often B2C business, and they're also ultimately reaching out to your customers in a different way. How can we stay ahead of the curve, right? Whenever a new startup comes up, probably it's into some line of service or some line of business where some of you all in the room are already there, right? How do we stay ahead of them? How do we learn from them? How do we stay competitive? And just last thought, guys, I think India, all of us, including our customers, are phenomenally changing. 1.4 billion is the population. 800 plus million mobile subscribers. Today, everyone in our house, everyone in our offices, your factories, everyone has a mobile phone. They have access to data. Probably they are watching more things or they are learning more than what we get time to use the mobile phone for different things, right? So their decision making is changing. The amount of awareness that they have about things or the way they can go find things, all of that is changing. Now, if we don't reach out to them through mediums that they use most effectively, we will be left behind somewhere, right? And which is why the need for digital transformation. Sorry, if I may just bring it together, I think that's one of the key reasons I feel today thinking digital for any MSME out there is extremely important, right?
And growth seems to be the key, right?
Absolutely. I think growth is what takes you forward, but there could be times when you want to also reduce some cost, right?
Yeah, for growth you need process.
For growth,
that's where you need to reduce cost, right?
Absolutely.
So growth is the key factor, if I may say. And for any organization, any SME, it could be internal or external, right? Internal to make the process easy, external to grow the business, right? Now, when we talk about growing the business externally or making the process smooth internally, cloud plays a big role, right? So could you please explain, enlighten with some of the examples that, how could these cloud-based services help businesses simplify process and improve growth?
Sure. I think, straight up the alley, right? So, guys at Amazon, overall from an Amazon group perspective, right? Our focus on working very closely with the MSMEs, the SMBs out there, they started, predominantly this focus on digitizing these customers came up in January 2020. That's when Jeff Bezos was in India, and we made a commitment to digitize 10 million SMBs. I think that's where, as a group, we stood up to the pledge and we said we will digitize 10 million SMBs. And I can tell you that obviously down the line, 2.5, 3 years now, 3 years plus, we are on track, right? We're on track to digitize 10 million SMBs over the next 3 years. Right? It was 5 years back then, but yeah, over the next 3 years. So I think that's one of the key reasons why we said we want to focus on this segment, because this is the kind of customers that have the need. These are customers that we can help and we can support, right, by bringing the best of technology to you all. Now, what is cloud, right? If I talk about AWS, guys, we have a portfolio of 200 plus services. And this could start from storage, which is obviously, a base infrastructure service. It can go all the way up to IoT, AI/ML, all the fancy advanced services that is used. From an AWS perspective for you all, I can tell you, the way you all should think about this is we've actually democratized technology for the MSMEs. So every technology, when you think of cloud, every technology that is used by the largest of enterprises, by the biggest of startups, that same technology is available for each of you all by just learning and adopting or just understanding what you need from it. So today, if a large enterprise is let's say running their ERP on AWS, which is let's say their SAP on AWS, it doesn't mean that a 50-member or a 70-member manufacturing unit who also has SAP cannot run their ERP on us. So that's available, right? The same features, the same functionality is available to everyone. So that's the power of cloud, right? And that's the power of cloud, why MSMEs like you all should really think about, adopting AWS and adopting cloud. Now, talking about some of the functionality, right? So what do we do? Now, we can obviously talk about those 200 services, but that's really for the builders. In my opinion, a lot of the MSMEs, like what you all understand, would be the business use cases. How do we simplify technology in the business language that you all understand? And let me start with a very, very simple example, right? Most companies today want a website, or they have a website, and it's running probably in a server in-house, right? What if your traffic in the website increases 20x? And your current, because you have growth aspirations, right? You will be doing a lot more marketing, a lot more campaigning. How do you manage the traffic? Now, hosting your website on cloud, on AWS, helps you, just drive so it just helps you scale, right? So the moment you start seeing the traffic increase, it helps you scale on the click of a few buttons. You don't need to worry about really thinking about upgrading your infrastructure or figuring out how do you manage the traffic that's coming in. A classic example, again, most of you all would have heard of Chumbak. It's a retail brand. They saw this efficiency. Every time they ran campaigns, they saw the traffic on the website increasing 10 times or 10 times or more. And they could seamlessly manage it because they were hosting their platform on us. So their internal retail platform, the e-commerce, was hosted on AWS. To drive efficiencies in-house, like again, an ERP solution, right? Talk about SAP. I'm sure we've all heard of Haldiram, right? It's a local brand, originates from here. They're seeing tremendous benefits in-house by just hosting their SAP on us. What happens is it just takes away the need to manage, a heavy infrastructure internally in-house and letting it run on cloud, right? So they don't need to worry about the downtime. There will be zero downtime. There will be fantastic functionality because there are people to manage it. And it just takes away the issues of managing the hardware. And likewise, if I may just give another example, Have More, right? Again, it's an ice cream brand. Most of us would have heard it. They migrated on us almost 4 to 5 years back, but they're happily running their SAP on us and have seen fantastic growth in their business, because that's automatically, if you're not spending time thinking about how to manage things internally, you can reinvest that time thinking about how do I grow my business. Obviously, I've got multiple other examples, right? I can go on and on. I think Another simple thing, if a simple use case, right? And I had a friend of mine calling me once when I was during the lockdown time. And, they are into, again, diamonds and exports. And he called me saying, Amit, I just need help. My website is so slow, I can't sell to my buyers. Every time they try to access a video, it's really slow, and they lose interest and they move away. And he was hosting his website on-prem, right, in-house. And obviously I told him, I'm like, given the lockdown, they're not able to send goods across the country into different countries for people to see it. They're not able to hold those exhibitions. So it was very critical for them to show the product and a very clear video, right, on the website. And it should be fast because someone who's buying it may see 20, 30 videos before making a choice. And the moment we moved him on AWS, he started seeing fantastic functionality of the website, right? The feedback itself from his clients went up saying, you know what, whatever you've done, it's really helping us. So that's just the power of technology, right? Power of using technology that can help you and help your customers, consume better.
Amit has almost convinced me that, if I am trying to expand or do something new, then there are 200 or more than services that is available on AWS. And the kind of examples that he has given, talking about Chumbak, Haldiram, Have More, these are big examples, but these are growing examples in the market, right? But what about competitiveness? So if you could, share some insights, how to stay competitive in the market. And I'm sure there are a number of partners and you guys helping out, SMEs and MSMEs stay competitive. How to stay competitive?
Sure. So again, I'll first, take the partner question, right? So again, I just want to tell the lovely audience here, right? When it comes to cloud, you don't need to worry about, do you have the skills to use cloud? Okay. So over the years, AWS has, across the world, we've got over 100,000 partners. These 100,000 partners are partners that are waking up every day and helping our customers use cloud effectively. And out of this global stats that I just give, India is the second largest base of partners, right? Because that's the kind of skills India always boasts of, right? We're a huge population and we obviously have fantastic skills, right? And we actually export a lot of talent. So having said that, we don't need to worry about, do I know cloud? Do I know how to log into the console and actually spin up things and use it, right? We do have partners that simplify the technology. What we've done is we've created multiple bundles with them. And the bundle could be as simple as just using, hosting your website on AWS, hosting your accounting software or your ERP on us. And it could go all the way up to, let's say, developing applications and helping you, completely transform your IT infrastructure today. So we've actually developed these partners and they come with the skill sets and we work backwards from customers, right? So we try to understand your problem or your growth aspiration. And then we try to, carve out the digital journey for our customers. So that's one thing, right? Coming to the competitive part, cloud is not necessarily expensive, right? We have to look at it in perspective of what are we really bringing or what are we really paying for. Today, if you think about it, like from an AWS perspective, we've specifically carved out very, very interesting, programs and propositions, right, for customers. One of the biggest investments that we've announced this year is towards the SMB and MSME population, and we called it AWS Lift. By virtue of this, we commit to giving up to $80,000 of usage credits to customers that are building on AWS. So there are terms and conditions, obviously, right, the finer print, but once you are eligible, and these are for net new customers, once you're eligible, we do commit up to $80,000 of credits just to support our SMBs and MSMEs to build on us. Outside of this, we've got simple try and buy. You can actually just run a pilot, right, without really, and there's no cost associated to it. There could be certain effort from the end customer side, but there's no cost. And the idea is that because we want to give you an experience of it. If you like it, if it works for you, you continue. And otherwise, you can very well, go back and, think of another experiment that you want to run.
So that seems to be your strategy, for large adoptions by SMB on the cloud?
Absolutely. And we run this ourselves. We run this via our partner ecosystem. We believe that, we want to take away the inhibition of cost from the SMB's mind, right? So when you think of cloud, we don't want you to worry about the cost associated with it.
So is that one of your strategy or there are more strategies that you guys adopt, so that more and more people come and adopt cloud?
See, from a financial perspective, these are some of the strategies, right? We do a lot of other things. Now, if I may just talk, right, for us, penetrating tier 2, tier 3 cities, like really going to our MSMEs in remote cities is definitely a priority, right? We've got a separate team of internal sales people, technical people, and support people that are actually focused on going and activating the tier 2, tier 3 cities. So they're actually going and spending time much in advance with these customers to explain to them, taking the power of technology, explaining to them how they can leverage it. On the other side, we are trying to see how can we activate at scale, right? So can we run specific scale, value propositions for our customers and just help them adopt the cloud. We believe once you get started on the cloud, like I said, when I started, right, digital transformation is a journey. It's not a task. Once you get started is when the newer opportunities and newer areas will open up for you and you'll be able to finally look at adopting it.
Last question, because we are talking about benefits. What exact, if I talk, 5 benefits that, as a person who is watching us or listening to us from an SME sector and MSME sector can say that they can get from the AWS?
Well, yeah, I can obviously quote more than 5, but I'll keep it to 5, right? So guys, the first thing, right, is how do you stay agile? How can you make sure that your business remains agile, your decision making, your ability to make change is very fast? How can we stay efficient? Like today, when I gave the example of Chumbak, right, when their websites are getting 10x traffic, they don't need to worry about how do you scale. So stay efficient, you should be able to spin up more and scale faster. How do you go global at the click of a few buttons? Like, can you actually transform your business to go global by just reaching out to a wider audience? How do you bring down your fixed investment? Cloud is a pay-as-you-go model. We would love to explain the commercials around or the concepts that we use, right, and say that you don't need to worry about upfront capex cost, and you can actually think of paying as you go. And if you're, let's say, over a weekend, if you're not going to use the servers, if you know you're not going to get traffic, you can actually shut it down and save cost. So just some of the benefits that I wanted to highlight. But definitely, right, I would urge each of you all to understand this a little more. Feel free to reach out to us. We've got a vast team of professionals out there. We're heavily invested and eager to engage with you all and actually help you all into the cloud journey.
Fantastic. Amit, I must say, it's been really engaging. Engaging in the sense, I have been just silently listening to you because there were so many new things that I learned about AWS, and I realized that there is so much of potential, not just in cloud and all the 200 services or things that, AWS would be providing, and I am going to explore them for sure. So thank you very much. And audience, as I said, thank you very much for being such a patient listening, and Amit is going to be available here. We are going to take a short break for a tea, and please feel free. And if there are any questions that you want to ask Amit in person, be our guest. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, guys.
Very rightly mentioned, Nand, that it was indeed a very engrossing and a very engaging session. We were all ears to you. And I would request Mr. Nair to kindly present a memento as a token of appreciation to Mr. Amit Murarka. Thank you, gentlemen. And now, with this, we will disperse here for a short networking tea break. Let us all make the most of this break, forge connections, exchange our learnings, and try to take up the questions with the concerned guests during this break. Let us all see each other in another half an hour. Thank you.